Yeah.
All right. First off, let's get the cage. All right, we're getting ready to kick this off for people that are viewing. For the 4 of us in attendance and the dozens watching from home, the Fastball Special presents Sketchlemania 3. Let's get ready to rumble! In this corner, weighing it at 245 pounds or so, hailing in from New Jersey, USA, the newcomer, Chris the Piranha Campana.
I put on some weight.
245, Chris. Jeez, gotta lay off the ice cream, I guess, man. I don't know.
I woke up this morning, I was 175, but I've been lifting for this match.
He's bulking up.
Yeah.
And in this corner, weighing in at 145 pounds, from Stony Creek, Ontario, Canada, Casey Space Pirate Parsons.
I think you reversed our weight class, but
these are all accurate. And on this corner, weighing at a lean 185 pounds or so, hailing in from Oakville, Ontario, Canada, like the Viking Rooth.
It must be 1992 if I'm 185 pounds.
And joining us today, your commentator, Slam Duncan. Welcome, everyone. Wow, we got some guys coming in already.
Thank you for the intro.
This is going to be awesome, guys. I'm excited. Let's talk about who we're drawing today. Who wants to break it?
Well, I'm not drawing Spidey, just so you know.
All right.
Changing the rules on this first day. I love it.
We actually
anybody from Spidey? Do we have to draw Spidey?
No. Anything from Spidey's good, man.
Yeah,
okay,
we're doing Spider Universe. So as promised, a popular character, and yeah, man, I'm looking forward to this one.
Me too.
And it's the first time Sketchlemania goes international with the international man of mystery, Mr. Chris Campana.
That's true.
That's right. My pencil's also a weapon.
Awesome, guys. So, yeah, Spider-Man. Cool.
Spidey, yeah.
So, sorry, specifically Spider Universe. So, we're going to open it up to a lot of interpretations. It could be Black Suit Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2099, whatever you want to do.
Can it be Venom?
Could be Venom.
Sure, it could be Venom. He was a Spider-Man.
Yes.
Yeah.
Venom would be good.
I was even going to think about doing I actually thought about doing Kraven the Hunter as Spider-Man because he was Spider-Man for like a week back in the 90s there, and it was awesome.
Of course.
So that's my favorite Spidey storyline, Kraven's Last Hunt. That's my number one Spidey storyline.
Me too, man.
Yeah, me too.
Well, it's up there for sure. It's up there with a couple of others, but yeah, that's Kraven is just one of my favorite characters. So that's just I loved it when he put the suit on. I was like, and that was kind of our first glimpse of Venom in a way. You know, how Venom was going to kind of look when you think about, like, because that happened before Venom, and, you know, the early days of McFarlane's Venom, like, he didn't have all the fangs and gooey teeth and all that. And I think that was kind of like, I don't know, I like that bulky Kraven look on Spider-Man. I thought that was pretty rad.
That was
I did a Kraven the Hunter commission for somebody at a Comic-Con a couple of years ago, and the guy was like, "This looks like Jonah Jameson," and I was like, "I'm sorry, I can't." I can't do it over.
This is what it's going to be.
We've gone too far.
Oh, that's so good.
Oh, man.
Are you guys going to kind of reveal what you're doing here, or you want to sort of let it unfold?
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind. I mean, I love drawing Spidey. Spidey's a super important character to me, and I think that I haven't really read Spidey in a long time, if I'm honest, but I you know, Spidey's one of those characters you can just kind of pick up and catch up with, and he's awesome that way. But I don't know, I have a hard time staying away from the classic, but I wanted to do something a little different today, so I'm actually going to draw Miles Morales today.
Oh,
nice.
I don't
awesome.
I don't think I've actually drawn that version of Spidey. I think I may have for my buddy. I have a nephew of mine that I did one for him at his place last summer, I think. But he came out real bulky. It was almost like like Miles Morales at like 30. So I might even go something in that direction. I just love that costume design. You know, I thought it was a cool costume. So I might go in that direction today.
Absolutely great character too.
Yeah, man.
Love it.
I'll be honest with you. Like I still think that Spider-Verse is the best superhero movie. Definitely the best Spider-Man, but maybe the best superhero movie. And I love that there was this major Spider-Man production that wasn't about Peter Parker. And it was I'll be honest, I hadn't really read anything with Miles in it prior to seeing that film. I loved the design. I knew he existed, but it just didn't, I don't know. Like I said, I haven't been reading Spidey for years, but I loved that movie. Like that movie just was incredible. Like it was everything I wanted in a kind of Spider-Man movie, you know?
And Peter Parker was amazing.
And he was great, yeah. And I kind of felt like that was our Peter Parker, you know?
Yeah,
which
yeah.
was great, so.
I think it's the best Spidey movie. It's the most true to the actual character of Spidey.
100%, man. Yep.
So I'm drawing along with you guys.
Nice.
Don't expect a lot, but it's fun.
Which Spidey?
I'm doing Venom. I don't know if you can see it, but it's slowly.
Oh man!
Oh,
boom! There he is, right there. Wicked.
Slowly along. He's getting there.
So Casey, what's your favorite Spidey story? So I think the three of us is the Craven one.
I mean, I kind of jumped in with, like, I wasn't a big Spider-Man reader growing up, but I kind of jumped in when McFarlane was doing his run, and I kind of liked how he made him all twisted and the spaghetti webbing, and it was dark. The stories, like, you read them now, they're a little cheesy, but but I like the mood of them. I like the tone of them.
So is that like Web of Spider-Man or the Spider-Man Amazing run that he did?
Like his the standalone, the one after the Amazing.
Oh yeah.
But I think one of my favorite Spidey things ever was the one Charles Vest did, the hardcover version when he's in Scotland.
Oh,
yeah, that one's
Spidey Wolverine. That's Spidey Wolverine, right?
Not that one.
That's a wicked one, though. I love that story, man.
I can't remember the title of the thing.
That was a dark story too. The Spidey Wolverine one, because like
he kills somebody in it.
he punches the chick, and he like he's a superhero.
It's
like,
one of my favorite too. It's probably my second favorite. Dude.
It's super dark. That's back when the kind of more special Marvel stories could take a dark turn and wouldn't really affect the canon, but like I feel like Spidey suffered with that, you know, because that was crazy. Like I remember reading that and just being like, "Oh my god, what the heck," you know?
There's a scene, and I tell everybody about the one scene in that story when he's beating on Wolverine in the cemetery, and he's hitting him so hard he cracks the headstone.
Yep.
And Wolvie says to him something like, "We both know you have to use all your strength to break my neck, but all I gotta do is pop one claw."
Oh,
dude,
so good.
I got so mad because I'm such a Wolverine fan at that part. I was like, come on, do it.
But that's also the one where Wolverine kind of like puts his fist up to Peter's chin and like pops the claw on either side of his face.
Yep.
It's just such a wicked shot. Like it's just a wicked. Oh man, I love it.
I love that comic.
That's a great story. That's he tricks him into killing Charlie, right?
Julian says Spider Rain, the Marvel fanfare story in the Savage Land.
That's the one that Kari Andrews did, right? Was that?
Is that Kari?
I can't
love
remember
Kari's stuff, man.
I feel like Kari did that one. Maybe I'm wrong though. Someone will probably correct me on that, but that was a good one. Spider-Man Reign, yeah. He's like older in it and stuff, right? Unless I'm thinking of something different.
Julian also says, was it Casey or sorry, I missed some of it. It was either Casey or Chris does a great Green Goblin. I think it was Chris, but apologies if I got it wrong. I'm trying to draw and read over here too at the same time.
Thank you, Jillian. If you met me, if you didn't meet me, then forget it.
It's gonna blame me now. It's like, who is this guy?
Yeah, the one I was thinking of was Spirits of the Earth. That the hardcover.
Spirits of the Earth. Yeah.
Yeah. Those listed. Yeah.
Hey, Eric's jumping in.
Hey, Eric.
Eric. I mean, for me, it's more about the art, right? Like,
Oh, for sure. I loved actually one that I keep in my regular rotation. It's weird though. I have the German copy of it. I can't find my original copy. Is Spider-Man Hooky, the one that Bernie Wrightson did. Just because that wraparound cover is so insane. It's just
that's another one. Yeah, yeah.
I think I know that story. I think I know that.
It's worth it again just for the artwork. He draws kind of a different Spidey, but it's, you know, if you love Bernie, then it's good, you know.
How can you not love Bernie?
Well, this is it.
It's an amazing one.
All right. I just realized Spider-Man has all these web things going on.
I can't tell you how many times I've drawn Spidey at a show and have to redraw it because I've messed up the web lines.
Dude,
oh man, totally.
It was like, which direction do they point, right? Like,
what have I taken on here? This is.
They are.
There's a real simple trick to it, but it's one of those things that takes a little practice to learn. But yeah, there's a real simple trick to getting it right.
just draw one of the other Spidey costumes that doesn't have the.
Draw it in pencil 3 times before you.
If I really fuck it up, I'll just do a black suit.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you got to tangle with the black suit logo with the wraparound triangles.
I don't have any white.
That's a nightmare, man. That's a living nightmare for me.
I mess up that spider every day.
Me? It's all right.
I think I have the structure of mine down, but now I think I'm going to ink this puppy, and that's where it's all going to go to shit.
Take a picture of it first.
Yeah. This is it. You got it right now. It's over. I'm done. You guys later. I'm going to go grab some dinner. Bye.
Oh, that's great.
I hate to say it, but I always enjoyed Eric Larson on Spider-Man for some reason. Like
that's where they lost.
Marvel Comics Presents when he showed up with like he did that, and then he was an Amazing Spider-Man, and he took over after McFarlane. But
McFarlane, yeah.
I don't know why. Like it's like terrible, but it was fun.
I think they lost me with Larson only because I was such a McFarlane guy.
Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah.
That was hard. It was like hard to who goes after that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
but I never enjoyed Bagley. Bagley was so huge, and I just couldn't get into that look for some reason.
Yeah,
I like Bagley stuff actually.
My favorite Spidey artist is actually Ross Andrew.
Who?
Ross Andrew. I love Ross Andrew Spidey, and then John Romita Jr. right after him.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Not a lot of people dig like the Ross Andrew Spidey, but I don't know what it is.
I gotta look it up. It's not coming to mind. I gotta look that up.
What run is that?
I'm not familiar with that either.
I have no idea. All I know is it was part of the comics that I would steal from my brother when I was a kid.
Oh yeah.
So it's Andru. Is his last name. He drew the coolest Spidey.
Oh wow, I gotta look that up. Yeah, I gotta check that out. I think what stands out for me are kind of like I loved Ron Friends' run on Amazing, like when he had the black suit stuff, and it was like there was the Puma story was good, and I love the stuff with I love those 2 issues where he beats the living hell out of Firelord, and that's when he's kind of testing how strong he is, and he beats a Herald of Galactus in the event. I love the cover. The Avengers are like, Spider-Man, you know, Firelord's a Herald of Galactus. You can't defeat him. And Spidey's just punching him, going, "Want to bet?" And he's just, I love it. So good.
I'm gonna switch over
strong enough
to Mike for a little bit.
Sorry, what was that, Chris?
No, I'm just switching the camera over to you for a little bit, Mike.
Yeah.
They never show Spidey as strong as he really could be.
Oh, I know. I always loved that. Nope. Yeah, I always felt like, you know.
Lolita.
Well, what was that storyline with him and Rhino? He's stopping Rhino.
Him stopping Rhino?
Yeah, I thought it was him stopping Rhino.
Maybe when he had the Captain Universe power, which was another one I was thinking about drawing today, which was a really neat run. That was the one McFarlane drew him punch Hulk into space. And I love that issue because the Hulk was drawn by McFarlane at that time too, or around that time. And
a great cover.
I loved his run on the Hulk for sure. It was great.
I want to say that's issue 328.
328
Mike-
of Spidey.
Mike Cross says Ross Andrew was basically 125 to 185.
Oh, okay.
And
Mike Cross out in the Maritimes, one of my good buddies.
nice. Any feelings on Gil Kane
Love Gil Kane.
drawing
Love Gil
six-arm Spidey?
Oh man,
That's
love
from
anything
Julian.
Gil Kane draws.
Oh yes, Mike. I think you're right. I think it was Spidey versus Juggernaut.
Spidey
Yeah.
versus Juggernaut. Yeah, that's right.
Sorry.
That's right. Yeah. I know Surfer stopped Rhino's charge because Surfer, is just ridiculously powerful. But
Yeah, that makes sense.
Surfer the strong. I mean, with the power cosmic, isn't Surfer like the dude?
he pretty much is the dude. The only time he wasn't the dude, to my memory, was like back in the '90s when they did that amazing Thor run, which was like Thor goes on a rampage and just basically shows up in everyone's comic and just trashes whoever's in the comic. And I think Tom Grinberg drew a lot of those issues, and they were just so raw and crazy. But yeah, there's a Surfer and Thor fight where Thor is just unhinged, and Surfer he just destroys Surfer. And it was that moment when I realized that I think actually Thor is the dude when it comes right down to it at Marvel. But yeah, Surfer pretty much, like, Surfer almost drained the Hulk dry once, like with the, drained him of all the gamma energy, and and like Surfer is just incredibly powerful. It's just bananas how powerful he is. Kind of love it.
Although Surfer is one of the hardest characters for me to draw.
100%, dude. I find him to be ridiculously hard. People wait years for a Surfer commission from me. I just have to I gotta get all nerved up for it, I gotta get all worked up into because it's like Spider-Man. It's like, it's like Superman. There's something about Superman and Surfer. It's like they should in theory be very easy, because I can draw chrome and stuff all day, but there's something about getting that figure right with the board and making it all work in a composition. I can never quite get it,
Yeah, Superman I never get right, because when I think of Superman, I think of the Bruce Timm style.
Yep.
Okay.
And I can't draw in that style. So, I can't do it, so I never feel like I have the chin right. He just never feels like Superman to me.
That's the thing about Superman. If you don't get that look, that I don't know what it is. There's a look, but if you don't get it, it ain't Superman. It's just a guy in a blue suit.
I have to make him look like Christopher Reeve a little bit, like the way Gary Frank does.
That's kind of a safe way to go. Yeah.
Somewhere between what Alex Ross does and Christopher Reeve.
Yeah,
I gotta tell you. So Alex Ross, it's really funny. I don't know why, and I'm not name dropping at all. I don't know why he follows me on Instagram. I think it just happened.
Oh yeah.
But the really funny thing is, there were these two kids at a show, and they didn't buy anything from me, but I was like, you guys can follow me on Instagram or whatever. And as they're walking away, the one kid goes, "Oh, he's got to be okay. Alex Ross follows him." And I was like, all right.
You heard it here first. We're gonna get Alex Ross here on the next one.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Just kidding.
I'm gonna sit
Chris,
that
make
one
it
out,
happen,
though.
man. Come on.
Yeah, right.
One out.
Also, I'll also say this: he's never once liked anything, because it was one of those things where he just liked things. I was not an intentional like.
I had a friend and a customer of mine share a snapshot from his Instagram where Instagram had made a suggestion where I guess he had followed Mike Mignola, and the Instagram suggestion was, "Oh, you followed Mike Mignola? Well, you might like Mike Rooth." And I was like, "Wow, holy crap!"
Nice.
I lose my mind when somebody like that follows me. I'm just like, you made a mistake.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, Shane says we sound like a bunch of old men.
Well, he's right.
Whipper, snapper.
We miss you, Shane.
Get off of my lawn.
I'll tell you now. All right, so here's current. I think Ryan Otley's Spider-Man right now is out of control.
Oh, everything that guy draws is out of control. I love that guy, man. His work is crazy.
He makes me nervous. I met him once, and I tell this story all the time. I met him in Boston, and he's like a god to me artistically. Like, the guy can do no wrong to me.
Yep.
And I met him, and we're sitting, and I'm standing in front of his table, and I'm talking, and I'm like, oh, the way you move the camera around is awesome. Everything you do is incredible. Your understructure is insane. You could do anything you want artistically. It's just, you could do anything. And I said, is there anything that challenges you? And he said to me, he's like, I don't do well with hips. And I said, Ryan, you've got great hips. And it was that moment when I realized I'd made a mistake. And I should not have said that because it didn't come out right. So I sort of like did that slow back away, and we both knew I did back away. So, it was I'd messed up. He made me nervous.
Mike says Rooth says he has trouble with these guys, and he always friggin' rocks it.
Oh, thanks, Mike. Mike's a good lad. I like Mike a lot. He's a good dude.
I think Kyle's going to be drawing with us as well. So folks that are watching, draw along, man, and we'll see how you guys do as well.
Join the party.
Hey, I should probably I'm going to talk a little bit about the charity. So again, we may get some new guys coming in. So we're going to auction off all these pieces. So we're going to make it real simple. Once we have the auction, I'm going to put a post up on Facebook, most likely tomorrow morning or maybe later tonight, depending on how things go. We have until Thursday at noon to do your bidding. If your bid is the highest on each of these different pieces, then all we're going to ask you to do is go over to the Kids Helpphone website, do a donation. Once you guys get your receipt back, send it to the respective artist, and they'll send the piece out. So Mike, you're kind of close to this thing, right? The Kids Helpphone.
I've supported it before. It's something I try to support every year if I can. Sadly, the last couple of years, I haven't had a lot of cash to support different charities that I would like to, but it's one that I've always liked and I was especially just thinking nowadays with everything that's going on, like what they do is incredible, and they're one of the best, in my experience, one of the best organized and most responsible companies in running I've ever had the pleasure of dealing with, and they do good work. They do very important work, I think, and I don't know. I just kind of feel like Spidey's a character that made sense for me to attach to that charity. So I'm glad we're doing that. Because I think what they do is awesome. And I'm thinking during these times, like, there's going to be kids out there that are, probably maybe they're hearing their folks fighting a lot, because of money or because of trouble or because of whatever.
Yeah.
And maybe there's not a whole lot of support there. And, I think right now, I don't know, school gives so much structure. And even though schools, like, they've been out of school now for weeks, man, weeks and months. And I feel like, I don't know. I kind of feel like now is a good time to support a charity like Kids Helpphone for sure.
No, it's great. I love on there too. I'm actually going to share the website right quick. I got to figure out how to do this again. One sec. There it is. Okay. So I think you just hit the donate button here. And then it takes you to different options. So you could actually put in whatever the highest bid is, just put that amount in, and then fill out some information. And I believe on the right side of it, which I thought was really cool, it gives you an idea of what the money's going for, right? So for example, it's $100 and ensures that there are 12 kids who contact us about suicide each day. So I think that's pretty cool.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So there it is. There you go, man.
Yeah. It's a good cause, and they're good folks there, and yeah. And they will give you a tax receipt, of course, for your donation. I think you may have to ask for it. I'm just trying to remember. Like I said, it's been a little while, but I think you just may have to reach out to them and ask for it if you need it for your taxes or whatever. But they'll give you when you make a donation, there will of course be you'll get like the page that says like, thanks for your donation kind of thing. And that passes as a receipt for me as well.
Yeah, I actually reached out to them last week.
Oh,
so
you did? Oh, awesome.
They'll provide you with a donation for sure.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, a receipt for sure.
Yeah. Awesome.
All right, I'm done. So.
Holy crap.
because I don't want to ink it. I don't want to ink it.
I know the sound of those whimpers, man. I've been inking this big double page wraparound. I can't say what it is, but I'm inking a big wraparound cover right now, and it's got about 30 characters in it, and it's been such a thing to ink. Like, it's such a bonkers thing to try to ink that I'm putting in like an hour at a time and then like walking for an hour because I just can't. I'm having to reach down deep. It's not because I don't love it. I love every minute of it, but it's really testing me. So
just walk it off, man. Just walk it off.
Just walk it off, man. Yeah.
That's something I had to really teach myself over the years was to walk away from the piece.
Yeah.
Like there's two things that I've learned over the years. One was stop trying to convince yourself, even if you like one part of the page, that the whole page works, because you're lying to yourself. You're going to be redrawing it 1,000 times. So just scrap it. And the other one was like, convince yourself to walk away, because you're just doodling. You're not doing anything like constructive at all. You're just making it worse.
Yep. Yeah, that's I'm still trying. I feel like I learn that every time I draw.
That's true.
Every learn.
The reminder.
Oh, these pieces look awesome.
All right.
You're gonna make me start bidding on them.
You are welcome to, of course.
Oh.
Like I was saying, Chris, I don't know if you can see on your screen, but like I literally have my eraser on a string.
Hold on, let me put the. There you are.
I have an idiot string on my eraser because, dude, I draw on a like my table's on a slant, and when this thing bounces, it like bounces across the room, and I gotta crawl under the couch to get it. Like, it's literally on a chain to my desk now. I'm good. So you wouldn't believe how much time that saves.
My dog ate my last eraser, so you know, and actually he eats all. Whenever I have a needed eraser, he's definitely eating that one.
Oh man.
and even though like he only learns after the fact that it's a bad idea, but he still does it. Like, it's just immediate buyer's remorse, but he does it anyway.
Dogs, man, gotta love dogs.
Miles Morales kind of has a different sort of chest emblem, right? I gotta look that up. I like the kind of spray painted look that he has in the movie, but I know like his original costume is a little more technical. Like, it's really nice, but I don't want to. I'm not sure. I like them. I kind of like the idea with him with the big shoes on too, like the big high cut shoes. Like, I'm not sure. I might add shoes to this. See if the people listening to this want me to add big red shoes. I'll add them. But
you heard it, folks. You want the big red shoes?
You know, like the red Nike kind of high tops things. That
Yeah, which Nike sold for a crap
load of money. I think he usually wears them with the jacket and stuff. Oh, you still there?
Oh yeah.
Are you guys still there? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Did I get cut out here? Hold on.
Oh, you're there.
Maybe he can't hear us.
Maybe, yeah.
Write a message on a piece of paper and hold it up for him.
Oh.
we hear you.
Oh, you can. Okay, good.
Ricky Beans wants Casey and Mike to come visit visit him in Colorado.
Oh man, Ricky Beans in a heartbeat.
That's all right, man. I can't make it. Thanks for the invite.
Davis wants you to slap those Ronald McDonald shoes on there, Mike.
Yeah, the Ronald McDonald shoes. All right, Davis, you got it, man.
Chunky shoes, yeah.
You know what though? Yeah, I'm gonna. I love his logo, but yeah, I don't know. I kind of like the original costume as well, but I might do the original costume with shoes. That's not against the rules, right?
Oh no, man.
Artistic license.
Bare feet.
Yeah. Well, you know, I was just thinking, like, Spider-Man's able to climb on walls because of the tiny filaments that come out of his fingertips to allow him to grip things. So, like, if he's wearing shoes, those are some long-ass filaments that got to reach through the shoes, puncture through the rubber. You know what I mean?
we can't get that technical. If we talk that, Spidey grabs out his ass.
I think about this stuff too much, I guess. I don't know.
Are you dropping some Spider-Man science on us there, Mike?
Well, I'm of the school that Peter Parker is a genius and deserves credit for coming up with the
Yes.
coming up with the like. I'm not a natural web guy. Like
I
I know Adam Gorham is. And I know it makes a lot more sense. Like I know it makes in a way it makes a lot more sense. But to me, it diminishes the character of Peter Parker. And I feel like he's a genius, and that needs to be recognized. So I'm always going to be a web shooter guy that way. But yeah, I know the spider powers though, like the climbability. That's not like a gooiness on his fingertips. That's like a filament thing. I thought like little hairs that come out of his hands, right?
That's also where they ruined him in the MCU by making Tony too important to him. He could do all that stuff himself.
Absolutely. Like, why did we need Spider-Man to be Iron Man 2? Like, not the movie Iron Man 2. Why did we need Spider-Man to be Iron Man also? We already had a functioning good Iron Man.
Yeah, I think they wanted just to tie in to the MCU, but
he needed a father figure.
No, I'm gonna write a stern letter. So
yeah,
that should do something.
Yeah, how do we go about changing this? Can you call Alex up?
He doesn't know I exist. I'm telling you, it's a mistake. The whole point of that story was because those kids somehow they didn't like my work, but then all of a sudden Alex Ross followed me and it gave me credit. Like, it was like, but we don't want to buy anything. Oh, wait a second. He must be okay. It changed everything.
That's funny.
So apparently feet are the devil.
Feet are the devil.
Yeah. For
and hands
for a non-artist especially.
You can put big sneakers on yours too though, Martin.
Yeah, it's everyone go with sneakers.
They're gonna be a little clubfoot. It's okay.
See, I feel like I'm going with the original Miles costume, and this might make the sneakers might look weird, but you know what? It's cool. They're gonna be nice big red shoes on. It's gonna work. It'll be okay.
I just ordered convention shoes for the next time they happen.
They're called Crocs.
Shoes.
Have some Incredible Hulk Air Jordan.
Oh, sweet.
They're called Crocs.
He's got
yeah.
High top Crocs.
High top Crocs. He's got the
Cleats.
Wow. Yeah. So.
Going good. Let's get to some more questions. If you have questions, folks, I'll try to read them.
Yeah. Any art nerds out there need some art nerd questions answered or anything like that?
Art nerd questions. I know Eric sent me a bunch of questions, so we can start on some of those.
Sweet.
What was your first memory of Spider-Man?
Ooh. I'll let someone else answer that. I know what mine is, but I'll let you guys go first.
My first memory of Spider-Man, I don't know what the issue number is, but it's the cover where Peter's arguing with is it Peter arguing with Harry at the bottom and Spidey and Goblin are up top fighting?
Oh shoot. Yeah.
You know the cover I'm talking about?
I feel like I do. Yeah. It's kind of, hold on. Yeah.
Like they're arguing on a street and above them is Spidey fighting Goblin.
Oh,
awesome.
A classic.
And I remember that because I used to steal my older brother's comics.
Oh yeah.
And I got my ass beat for stealing that one. So my first memory of Spider-Man is an ass kicking I got from my older brother.
That's awesome, man. How about you, Casey?
I think the first issue I got was a Web of Spider-Man with the Hulk on the cover. Like I was collecting everything Hulk. There's a really great cover with the Hulk on the front.
Oh, nice.
Close up with his, his fist up, and I think that would have been my first Spider-Man book. And then my brother was collecting issues, so it was like seeing him in Marvel Comics Presents, and then McFarlane coming on the scene. Just kind of blew out from there.
Oh yeah.
Comic store, and see all the different versions of Spider-Man.
Very cool.
Yeah, I think it was that Web of. That was my first one. I think it was like issue 7 or something like that.
I think I remember the cover. Yeah, I loved Web. Web was a very serious Spider-Man. Web was a
Web,
very
yeah.
serious Spider-Man comic. It had a lot more darker stuff going on, but I loved all of them. Like I loved that one, and Peter Parker Spectacular probably was my favorite because that covered the Sin Eater story, which I loved so much. But my first memory of Spider-Man actually is and I still have it. I still have it in my house. I don't have it up, which needs to be remedied. But when I was very small,
Oh,
like
cool.
when I was like when I was maybe 3 or 4. My mom took me to or returned from the CNE. I don't remember going to the CNE, but I remember she came home with this wooden, I guess it was probably silk screened, but it was a wooden thing in a frame. And it was a John Romita Jr. Spider-Man, one of the real classic ones that Marvel used a lot as like a graphic on their ads inside books or like on the bullpen page, whatever. I can't remember what it was used at, but it was a classic Spidey kind of flying at you and had like a yellow painted background and just like a bit of web trimming around the edges. And Spider-Man saying, "Michael is my spider friend." And this guy, and it's this big wooden thing. It's probably like 18 by 24, something like that.
Cool.
And I had it on my wall since I was a little kid. And it's one of these things where a dude probably had a booth at the CNE, and he probably had these different Spider-Man things, and he had like a blank word bubble, and he would probably just write in like whatever you wanted to write in, and because it was just handwritten in Sharpie, you know, Michael is my spider friend. But man, it is a super important artifact in my life.
Still have that? You still have it?
Yeah, I do, man.
Oh,
I do.
cool.
Your mom got that for you?
Yeah, my mom got that for me. Yeah, I'd have to probably go and dig it out of the closet right now. I might eat up all my drawing time. But yeah, maybe next time I'll pull it out if I can. And I haven't seen it in a while, but I've still got it. Yeah.
You guys have way better stories than my Spider-Man story.
Well, I didn't really have a story.
Anybody fans of the 60 show?
The Witch?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that, man. I probably watched that show every day for years and years, man. Like, didn't matter if I've seen it 1,000 times, I'd still watch it. It's so good.
I mean, look at my dude right here. Look at him.
He's amazing. Hold on, I'm gonna pick that up. One sec.
Awesome.
Let's pick that up. Look at that.
That's the real deal. I had one of those. Oh my God, that is such a trip to see that.
No gloves. This is no joke, man. This is my first action figures were Migos.
That is incredible, dude. I had one just like it. And then later I lost all his clothes, but my cousin had the G.I. Joe, So I had him in G.I. Joe outfit. And but he had still his plastic mask, right? And the red hands.
Dude, I actually got paid. There's a guy who I did box art for this like custom action figure line that he did, and he paid me in Migos.
Oh my God!
No way!
I swear to you, I have Human Torch, him, and Green Arrow, and like this Spidey, there's no rips on the suit. Like it's like my prized possession.
I guess so. That's wicked.
Dude, he's just
Wait, that's an original Migo? That's not.
Yeah, it's the original. This is,
that's cool.
I don't even want to unbutton it, but pump the brakes here. This is 1974.
Wow.
That's cool.
Yeah,
that is so great.
Spidey's my favorite because to me, whenever I think of him and I think of he's the first hero to put the suit on because of a mistake that he made.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like,
can I just state that he has the best origin story of all superheroes?
100%. Agree.
Yeah, I like it the best. It's the most. I think it's very rich. I think it's very and the guilt thing is something that kids can identify with. I think, and I think that's a huge part. And yeah, man, I just always loved that about Spidey. He was always concerned about like taking care. Like he had real problems, and that's. I mean, I think Spidey is kind of, for a lot of people, it's their first real, like their first kind of comic book, infatuation maybe. Like I had like old Marvel Tales books and stuff when I was a kid, like the reprinted original Spider-Man stories. And I read a lot of those. And then, I got into the Marvel team-ups were so good because it was always those were probably my first Spider-Man comics actually were Marvel team-ups. Which I just loved.
And like Ghost Rider and stuff. Yeah.
Oh man, you kept up with everybody.
Great. I remember one with Mockingbird and him on the cover.
Oh, so good. I can picture that cover like clear as a bell in my head. I know exactly what you're talking about. So good, man. All right, I'm gonna do some inking, I guess.
Drawing's hard.
What are you talking about? Every one of us has gotten that comment at a show that says, "Well, my cousin draws just like you."
Oh yeah. Yeah, my kid's 9. She can draw just like you, man.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's wicked. Wow, bring her to the show and get rich. Like,
Get rich.
man,
Get
I don't
rich.
know.
I had one guy. He was like, "Yeah, my cousin could do this, but instead he went to college and got a job." And I was like, "All right,
Oh my God.
that's cool."
Was that at a con or something, or what?
That was at a con. It was at a con in Rhode
That's
Island.
amazing. That's
I love
amazing.
those.
Insane.
Why tell you that?
Those are
I
my
don't
favorite
know.
stories.
I don't know.
You
It's
got a
just like,
job.
it's the same stuff when people ask you, "Is this your real job? Is this, it's all that stuff."
So-
I don't think people mean it in a bad way. I just think they don't. It's a hard job to understand.
It is. Well, and you never want to think about what your hourly rate really is, because it's not hourly. And if
Right.
you thought about how it was hourly, you'd probably cry yourself to sleep for the rest of your life. You're probably making about 48 cents an hour when you really come down to it. If you're slow like me, you make about $3 a page if you're lucky. You know what I mean? Like,
We got some more questions here. Mike Cross says it was Amazing Spider-Man 136. I assume that's the cover we're talking about.
oh,
The
okay.
Goblin one? Is that the Goblin one?
That sounds about right. Yeah.
Robert Bifano is saying hi.
What's up, Robert? Robert's a good dude.
Julian is saying, who is Spider-Man's best team-up partner?
Aunt May.
You know what? I used to love it when he would team up with Johnny in those books. Johnny
Yeah,
Storm.
Human
Yes.
Torch. I would go Human Torch too.
I like the new Fantastic Four they did with Ghost Rider and Hulk and
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The last two, man. I like
That was fun.
Wolverine, and that was just an excellent team up.
Hey guys, I don't hate my drawing.
Well, that's because you're not an artist.
Oh, that's probably right. Yeah, that is true.
That's accurate. That looks good. Sure, it's looking good, man.
Marvel calls
Yeah.
after this, Martin. I think we're done, you know?
That's too funny.
Somebody just messaged me I think it was today, and he was like, I don't like my art until I look at it like 3 years later. And I realized it's not nearly as bad as I thought it was when I was working on it.
That's good or not?
You know what's funny? I've had drawings that I would do at my desk and looking to get like a quick little post on Instagram or something, like a warm-up sketch. But then I'll finish it and I'll be like, nah, this isn't good enough for the internet. And I just throw it away. And then 3 months later, I'll find it under my desk and I'll be like, yeah, you know what? It's not that bad. It's not terrible. I don't know why I hated it that day, but I don't hate it today. So there's something to that, I guess.
I think for me, it's because it never, ever will match what's in my head.
Well, yeah. That's the endless journey, though, right? That's the whole thing. That's the whole ride.
It's never that. It is never the way I saw it.
Yep.
Yeah, there's that point where the drawing kind of takes control and you can't stop it.
No stopping the train.
That's right. When's Eric jumping on here? Is Eric coming on with us tonight? What's going on?
He had something, but he said he might be jumping on halfway through-ish. So,
All
hey,
right.
it's already 5 to 8, guys.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I know, it goes so fast.
Not too bad. Not too bad.
All right, I'm gonna move it out to see what Casey's doing here.
I don't know what I'm doing. Screwing up.
Look at that.
Oh yeah,
That looks sweet.
I like it.
I like it.
Roll
I
over
think-
some paint, and then go on top of that.
Mike Cross says, I can't draw, so I always offer to buy food for the artists.
Mike's one of those dudes that you might see volunteering. Well, I know I used to see him volunteering at HalCon years ago, and I always look forward to seeing him anytime I go to the Maritimes because he's just one of those, one of those guys on the list of awesome people in the Maritimes, which includes pretty much everyone I've met in the Maritimes. But Mike's a good dude, really good dude. He hangs out with really cool art collector type dudes too, who really know their comic history and really know their stuff. And it's, yeah, man, good guy.
What's the best thing you guys have ever received at a Comic-Con?
Was it like a gift?
Yeah, just curious.
For me, I've got a lot of cool stuff, but somebody brought me a 12-back Man-at-Arms.
Oh,
what?
Wow.
Yep.
Wow, man.
Yeah, it was. So Man-at-Arms is like my number one like Motu guy.
Yep.
And the story is, when I was a kid, I was a huge Hulk fan, and like I got into Master Universe before the cartoon came out because the figures came out first.
Yep.
Yes.
And when I saw him at the store, he was green, so I just thought he was a friend of the Hulk. So I like demanded that I have him. And forever, I've just loved Man-at-Arms. And
Oh, yeah.
somebody found a 12-back, and it had to be at least like $200 or something like that. And they bought it, and I didn't know what to do. It was the most insane, kind, just thoughtful thing. It was awesome. It was just,
that's awesome, man.
yeah, it was pretty mind blowing.
Man, that's tough. Like, people always bring me, like, they bake cookies for me and stuff, and that's always like huge. Like, a friend of mine always makes me like banana bread, and like my friend Sylvie, she always brings us cookies or something, and that's always those are always great things to get at a show, because I always forget to eat or drink or do anything, and then I'm wondering why I'm seeing stars at 3 PM, and I've had some really cool like Funko Pops, like my friend Justin and Angela out in the Maritimes, they brought me a Swamp Thing to a show, the Swamp Thing Funko Pop. I don't actively collect Funko Pops, but I have the essentials, I got a Swamp Thing, I got a Ben Grimm, I got Conan, Red Sonja, and Lemmy. And then Shane Kirschenblatt actually did a custom one of me, so I've got all the pops.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
That was a pretty cool gift to get. Also, that was actually something I got. That was a very thoughtful gift too. It was a custom made action figure of me. That was pretty neat. But
That's cool, man.
I brought you an Iron Maiden beer one time, didn't I?
You brought me an Iron Maiden beer. You see, that's the thing. I literally, there's times when there's times I have to leave my stuff behind at a show so I can get all the gifts onto the plane, and I'm not saying that to sound like I'm like living in some kind of opulence, but it's just, I'm always amazed that people will just find the time, like, oh, I saw this and I thought of you. And I'm like, oh my God, like it'll be some like drawing that I did for them or some like, whatever, an action figure of a drawing that they always get from me or whatever it is. Right. Like, it's just nice, man. Yeah, it'd be hard for me to pick a thing. Favorite thing. They're all awesome.
That's cool. Very cool.
When they bring you scotch, Mike, and then
yeah, people have brought me scotch. People have brought me Kraken rum. Sometimes the most valuable thing is when someone just comes by with a coffee, because then I know I can live for another 3 minutes at least. Like it's a good thing.
You know how many coffees you're gonna get next time, Mike?
Oh, I'll take them. I'll take every one.
I get a lot of protein bars because people know I don't drink coffee.
Nice.
Stuff like that. But I hate eating at the table. I feel weird eating at the table. Like, why? Because that's when somebody's gonna walk up and you're just spitting like food at them while you're talking to them.
Every time.
That's the real Campana experience, man.
It's true. Come on by.
Yeah, let me spit some food at you.
You won't regret it.
That's cool. Very cool.
There's always our friend Mike, you know who I mean, who brings us comics and toys and posters.
Oh, yes, I know who he is.
Fun little old creature, the Black Lagoon toy.
Oh, man, I know the guy you're talking about. He always brings me the nicest stuff. Like, I got weird, like, cool old Steranko. He brought me... This is amazing. I don't know where he got these things, but he brought me, remember when Marvel used to have posters and they were wicked, and you'd go to the comic shop or whatever and there'd be like one of those poster racks, and I remember I had like my original like Longbow Hunter series poster and a bunch of
Oh,
stuff.
nice.
And they were all great. Like Art Adams used to do those great Wolverine posters, and they would sometimes take a good cover, like the McFarlane Hulk, the McFarlane 340 Hulk. They would do that as a poster and color it differently or whatever. Well, he brought me a painted Jim Steranko, Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., massive poster. And it is just breathtaking. Like it is just like it's in perfect shape. I don't know where he got it, but like I haven't seen one for like probably 30 years. So it was pretty awesome to get one of those dropped off at my table.
That's cool.
That's pretty awesome, actually.
It's badass, yeah.
All right, I got another question for you here. Who's got a better rogues gallery, Spider-Man or Batman?
Oh, geez.
That's the ultimate question, isn't it?
I would say Spidey 100%, because I always think when I think of Spidey, you can, like who is Spidey's definitive villain? Who is it? Like you can sit and, ponder that, because some would say it was Goblin because of what Goblin did, but I would argue that actually Doc Ock has probably been a bigger thorn in Spidey's side his whole life, and then Venom represents a whole other kind of thing. So I feel like with Batman, it's like the awesome rogues gallery, but I feel like it's kind of limited. Like you could go on all day with Spider-Man villains, all day. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't read a lot of Batman though, I'll be honest. So
I think Spidey's a superior character to Batman anyway. So that's just, I know that gets me in trouble a lot, but I mean, I think Batman is a little overrated. It's just a tad bit overrated. I know that.
Yep.
That's blasphemous, but I'm sorry. I just think he is.
I only read Batman comics that were like specials. Like I would buy Batman Judge Dredd because Simon Bisley drew it. Or
oh my God, Simon, you're talking my language, man.
I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But, I didn't read a whole lot of Batman, to be honest with you. I mean, I love the Tim Sale stuff. Like I got some of those standalones. Like I love those, but. I never collected Batman actively, never once, never for a few minutes. I remember I came into a stack of 25-cent bin detectives, old detective comics from the 70s, which were just incredible. But I never really, I don't know, my DC guy was Green Arrow. I never really got into Batman too much.
Eric Laredo says humbug. I think you're making him mad. I think he's a Batman fan. Sorry, Eric. I like Batman.
Batman's a great visual to draw. He's a great visual to draw. He has a great design. Like, there's nothing wrong with drawing him. I don't know. I think what turned me off to Bats was if you give him enough time, he can kick anybody's ass. Like, I can't wrap my head around it. I've had enough of it. It's like,
yeah, I get that.
Great eyes on Casey's piece. Davis is saying that. Waiting for the Man-at-Arms discussions to begin. This match rivals WrestleMania 3, Mike, apparently.
Nice. Speaking of Man-at-Arms, I don't know if I saw it on your page, Chris, that cosplay.
Oh, my God.
It's mind-blowing.
Isn't that in something else?
Yeah.
Like,
I have it on mine as well. Yeah.
I could not believe that.
That's crazy.
It's insane. I got tagged in that like 100 times because
I bet.
I love Man-at-Arms.
Let me go tag Chris. Hold on.
It's just, I mean, I didn't look into it to see how long that took him, but that is insane.
Oh man, yeah. It's seeing that kind of dedication is out of control. There's a guy. He may be watching this. I don't know. His name's Abe. I'm not sure, but Abe or Abel, if you're watching. He years ago, I did a commission for a guy in New York City that was a lot of people ended up getting prints of because it turned out kind of nice. But it was my take on Voltron the Barbarian. Like
nice.
It was like Voltron Conan kind of mashup. Like I had a whole story written that actually Dynamite loved, and I was trying to do it like a one-off, kind of like a Beowulf kind of story, like 1,000 years after Voltron. The last Roe Beast has been destroyed and Voltron's been exploded, and like, the piece of even the blazing swords and pieces, but like, humanity's destroyed, and it's like 1,000 years later, tribes form around each lion because when Voltron explodes, the lions go in different directions and run until they power down, and each one over time becomes like a temple, and different tribes form. So you have like a green lion tribe and a red lion tribe and all this stuff. But humanity as a whole is destroyed. and all that's left is the chaos and evil that comes from a giant roe beast that bled so much evil into the earth that trees are dying, and humanity is just in ruins. And so these tribes unite, and there's of course you have this, like, the black lion comes and unites them all because he's the body of the lion, but he comes and unites the tribes, and actually they break a piece of the original blazing sword off and forge it so it could be wielded by a person. And so I kind of drew this kind of lion looking guy with different colored lion parts like on his costume.
Oh, it's great.
Anyway, this guy Abel made this costume. He actually made this costume. And I'll try to share it later for people watching this.
I'll share it. I'll share it.
It's out of control. It's so good.
That's an insane story.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, they loved it. But apparently it was right around the time that the new, like, I'm not saying it would have been anything, but they liked the pitch. But the problem was it was right around the time the new Netflix show was just starting. And I guess the license holder or something felt like it was, I don't know, it would dilute the situation a bit on that show. I don't know. I was just picturing literally a 22-page kind of poem turned into a comic book, just kind of I just gave you the fast version, but that was basically what I was thinking.
Right.
Here's the so on the right is a part of the drawing. I'll show a better picture of the drawing, but here's the cosplay on the left. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's just nuts, man. That's crazy.
That's so cool.
Yeah. Super rad. Yeah, those types of things are hard to measure up to. There's a young lady, when I had a Viking comic I was working on years ago that never saw the light of day, unfortunately, but there was a little fan base that built around it, and a young lady in Montreal actually came to the show in Montreal wearing a costume from a character comic book that didn't even exist yet, and that was a pretty big deal. I'm gonna have to revisit that one day. It's just it just didn't work out the way I wanted it to, as these things kind of go sometimes, but yeah, that kind of fan support is just unbelievable.
Yeah, that's really cool. All right, who's Spider-Man's best worst villain? AKA a villain you just laugh at. That's from Julian.
Worst. Sure, best worst.
Paste Pot Pete.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. I think of one comic that comes out to mind. I love the cover. The cover was outstanding. I think the cover was like, you think you're so great, web slinger? Make way for Slide. And he was this guy who had like this slick costume. It was just like a super slick kind of costume, and he would run real fast because the costume was super slick, and he could like body checks Spidey into the trash cans and stuff, and he's like super fast.
That's
like
amazing.
Flash. Yeah, he's a pretty bad character though. Yeah.
Oh, Kyle says Stiltman. I love Stiltman.
Stiltman, he's more of a Daredevil guy anyway.
Yeah, true. Oh, Kangaroo.
Kangaroo.
I don't even know these guys.
Paste Pot Pete, I think, was definitely more of a Human Torch villain.
Yeah,
but,
yeah. Well,
but
I think so.
Anytime you get a chance to say Paste Pot Pete, I think you have to say it.
You have to.
Yeah.
This is fun.
It's like my duty as a comic book artist to say Paste Pot Pete once, a millennial. It's just like Haley's Comet and Paste Pot Pete. That's it.
We're gonna make it a thing on this show now.
Paste Pot Pete.
Yeah.
Find a way to work it into conversation.
The next subject is Paste Pot Pete.
I would have loved to have done a Masters of the Universe thing though. Maybe it's something we can do in the future. I know. I was like, I don't know. Chris is sick of drawing Masters of the Universe stuff though, so I didn't want to suggest it. But there's so many great characters in that too. It's just unbelievable. And I was so blown away a few years ago when they released that big, thick, chunky. I got it somewhere around here. That super thick, chunky collection of all the the Masters of the Universe mini comics.
The mini comics.
And I didn't realize I didn't realize that Mark Teixeira drew tons of those.
So I got into an argument with him at a show because, and a friendly argument, because he was like, I drew the first ones, and I was like, no, Alfredo Alcala did.
Yep.
And Tex is a big guy, so I was like, maybe you did. But
no, Alcala did 100%, man, and those were so different too. That was before they even knew what they were doing. They didn't know anything about the characters. They just made a story. I mean, if you read that comic, it's crazy because
the colors are all different. Everything's different, man.
Well, and his weird suit, the He-Man vest thing that he wears. in the story, they try to actually read it. They actually tell you that he has two different ones. One that makes him really strong, and one that gives him like invulnerability. But they're both identical. And then at one point he has none of them on, and he's getting beat up. But like, oh man, that image of him picking up Beastman over his head is like, that's just like such a classic. That's like my favorite He-Man image. I think that and anything Earl Norem did. I loved everything Earl Norem did with the He-Man stuff.
The Earl Norem stuff is really interesting because I'm a huge Frazetta guy.
Yeah.
And after watching that that documentary, I didn't know that they wanted Frazetta first, but he was too pricey.
Yeah.
Wow.
So they went to Norm, and Norm's stuff is insane.
It's so good.
Stuff is out of control. Like that.
His Conan stuff is so good.
That shaped everything for me. The whole reason I even started doing this was because of Masters and because of Frazetta. Those are the two biggest influences I have artistically.
Huge.
And
Frazetta was such a badass too, man. Like when you hear the stories about him, like when when Clint Eastwood was trying to call him to get like, I don't know if you guys ever heard that story. I totally cut you off, Chris. I didn't mean to.
So no, you're good. You're good, man.
There's a story where like Frank's out there on the tractor doing his thing, and like his wife comes out to him and says, Frank, Clint Eastwood's on the phone. He wants to talk to you about a movie poster. And Frank's like, yeah, well, I'm not done cutting the grass. And they're like, yeah, but it's Clint Eastwood on the phone. Like, maybe you should go and talk to him. And he's like, well, if it's really Clint Eastwood on the phone, then he can fucking wait till I'm done cutting the grass. I just thought that was so awesome.
Wow.
Well, I think about that stuff now. I can't speak for like all the artists, but for me, it's like obviously social media is so important. And I wonder about artists like Frazetta and those guys, how they would have handled having like a Twitter and an Instagram and all this shit that you got to have.
Oh yeah.
And constantly posting and hoping for likes and, sometimes getting gigs based on how many followers, whatever it is. Yeah. And I feel like he'd be the kind of guy like, eat it. Like this, I'm Frazetta. Eat shit. I don't care.
Yeah.
It was a whole different sort of, like social media, you can get gigs sometimes.
It's a minefield too, though. Like I don't know if it's good or bad, but
I think it could definitely be either. I know I've never personally known an artist, but I've heard stories of artists who have lost work based on how they carried themselves on social media.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Oh yeah. Yeah. Everyone's watching all the time, I've gotten myself into hot water just because I react to something without really knowing the full picture, but maybe being, immediately affected by whatever it was, and then ranting about it, and then kind of hearing the other side, and then, feeling a little bit like a monster,
It's human nature, though, man. But the problem is, I think once you put it out there, it's out there forever.
Well, that's the problem. Yeah.
It's you can't take it back.
That is the issue. I know I've stopped myself from posting certain things about, whatever's going on sometimes in the world, because
for sure,
you don't want to be misunderstood, because even if it's a common sense approach to something, or you think it's a common sense approach to something, it could be so misconstrued, and there's so many people who they'll read, say the headline or just the first blurb, and they don't go into it, and you're screwed after that, because it's already out there, and you're right, you can't take it back, and it's just you're finished.
Yeah, it's the political stuff. I always try to, where I can, keep it out, because I some of my collectors are Conan guys, and some of my Conan guys are of a certain age group, and that certain age group are of people that maybe didn't vote for the president that they wanted, that everyone didn't want, or I don't know. I try not to get into it, but there's stuff that well, no, there's just like there's stuff that I can't reconcile in my head, but there's stuff that I also I don't know. I don't want to. Everyone's got their reasons, good or bad, information or or ignorant or whatever the situation is. They, politics in comics. I don't know. Like I just want to draw, man. You know what I mean? Like I did I won't mention it. I did a cover a couple of years ago that severely affected my career, and in a way that I didn't want it to.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
It was a political piece that I I kind of broke my own rule, but the client who contacted me was someone that I looked up to and someone that I was a fan of, and I couldn't say no. And then I did the job, and then after I did the job, it's like it's up there forever, man. And it's you know what I mean? It's a slippery slope. It is a slippery slope, and then you all of a sudden get the attention of people that are much more dangerous than you, and you know what I mean? And it's kind of like, well, that's going to happen now, and now it's going to be weird when I go here, and it's anyway, yeah. It's on my Google page. If you Google Mike Rooth, you'd probably find which one it is. I actually did it under an alias, but when it got released, it was just like, Mike Rooth did this. And I'm like, oh, good. And then Bleeding Cool was like, Mike Rooth did this. And I'm like, well, that's great to show up on Bleeding Cool for the first time in your life, and it's for something that you did not ever really want to get known for. So that can happen.
Crazy. I'm gonna bring it back around to Spider-Man for a minute.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Okay. Yeah. All right. All right. Question. Why do so many people love Spider-Man?
Because he's everybody's hero.
I think that's what they were talking about earlier too, where he was like one of those first characters where you could identify with him. He had problems, I think, that a teenager or a young person could identify with.
Yep.
Brilliant costume.
Yeah. Wonderful design. Expressionless face, like, unless you add expression. But there's like, you don't have to, it's like, yeah, I don't know. There's some, I feel like a kid could talk. I feel like a kid could call Spider-Man and he would answer. You know what I mean? That's kind of the thing that I like about him. Like, and I feel like Spidey is like, for me, my guy is Ben Grimm. But Spidey before I kind of was twigged to Ben Grimm, Spidey was the guy that was there for me. You know what I mean?
Very cool.
I think Spidey's he's every guy. He likes the girl. He struggles with money.
Yep.
He's been picked on. I mean, when I was in high school, I got picked on a bunch.
Yep.
And I was very much to myself. And Spidey's just one of those characters who just, like, even in the new movies, the one thing they do the best with the Tom Holland movies is you see him struggle with that responsibility of having to be Spidey.
Yep.
When he just wants to be a kid, and you feel that. To me, it's just, I don't know. It speaks to me in a different way.
I agree, and I think it also comes down to that origin story for me too, the redemption piece, right? Like, I mean, if you think about it, especially at that age, if you get those sort of powers, like, stopping crime is not the first thing I'm going to do. I'm going to try to do things for my own advantage for a while. But yeah,
how brilliant is that? That's the direction they actually went. That's brilliant.
Well, I was just gonna say, like, when you're a kid and you make a bad mistake, like maybe you do something like, I don't know, like, I'm not gonna get it, maybe you got caught shoplifting or something like that when you were just young and you didn't know any better, or whatever the situation was, or maybe you did something that hurt a family member by accident, or you said something insulting, or whatever the situation is. I feel like because of my experience of Spider-Man and Peter Parker in particular, I feel like those moments of shame in my life and those moments of regret had more weight. And as a result, I learned more from them because I had Spidey, who also maybe did something like this or made a terrible mistake, or, you know what I mean, hurt someone's feelings real bad or something like that. And it weighed on him, and he struggled with it. And I feel like that's something that maybe as a result of some of the lessons you learn from Spider-Man, that some of the lessons you learn in life become, are made flesh. They're made more, they have a little bit more, I don't know, meat to them. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you think about the stuff he carries around. He not only does he carry around Uncle Ben, he carries around Gwen too. Like, he's got a lot of heavy shit going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. He does. Great character.
Yeah, super great.
So another one. Actually, I'm curious about this one. Actually, I'm gonna switch this into two different questions. So, what's your favorite costume, and what's your favorite costume to draw?
Ooh. Go ahead, Casey.
It might be the same thing, but favorite costume and favorite costume to draw.
Like, I just wonder if they mean like any character, or do you mean Spider-Man?
Spider-Man.
With Spider-Man, I'd say the classic, like the one I'm working on now.
Classic is your favorite to draw, and your favorite?
I think so. I mean, I do love the you know, the black, the symbiote, you know.
Black suit?
I like that one, yeah. But there's something about that classic one, like, you know, just that red and the blue together, like the design. It's just a brilliant.
Yeah, nothing can defeat Steve Ditko. Like when it comes to that kind of thing, like it's such a great design. That for me, it's the classic suit, like 100%. I followed probably closely behind by the black suit, and I remember when the black suit first came out. I had almost like a meltdown. I remember I used to get my comics at like 7-Eleven or whatever in St. Catharines, where I grew up, and I remember going to a shop and like I saw that cover when you first see him in the black suit, not the Secret Wars, but the Amazing Spider-Man, and I was just like, I stood there and I was like, but who's this? Like, what happened? What's going on? And I picked it off the shelf and I thought it looked cool, but I was instantly like upset that they changed my Spider-Man. And then I flipped through the book and I realized that it was still Peter Parker, and I was like, okay, I'm okay with that. And I put it back on the shelf because I didn't have any money. But it was man, I wish I had money that day though. Looking back, but yeah.
Chris, how about you?
I have a tattoo of Black Suit. I think Secret Wars 8 is one of the most iconic. It's one of the most iconic covers ever. But I like the Ben Reilly suit with the hoodie because there's motion in it when you draw it, because you can draw the hood up or hood down.
Oh,
so
yeah.
like drawing wise, I like that suit, and I at first hated, but now I love the original Miguel O'Hara 2099 suit.
I love that suit. I think it's great.
I hated it because it's sort of like along the same lines. I was like, nobody can be Spider-Man, but you know, but Pete. But I don't know. There's something about that suit that's just it's so badass. It's such
so cool
suit.
My first time ever going to New York Comic-Con, I was there by myself. My wife wasn't with me, and it was I was there with my friend John. Actually, he drove me down there, and he was with me. But at the time, I was by myself at the table, and I didn't. I was just kind of shell-shocked by the whole experience. This is like probably 2013-ish, something like that, 2012, and Rick Leonardi was sitting right beside me. And I didn't really see what he was drawing all weekend. I was just kind of blown away. Like I knew his name, but I couldn't remember where I knew it from. And I was drawing all weekend long. But one of the things I had in my prints was I had a Spidey 2099, and it was one of my most popular prints at the time. And I was moving a few of them there in New York City that day. And I look over at one point, and I see all these people in line for Rick Leonardi. And I hadn't even spoken to him yet because there was so much room. That was the one thing that blew me away, was New York had so much room. Like you could get up and walk around your 8-foot table and you weren't jammed next to somebody else. Like it was incredible. This was maybe not the way it is now, but back then I couldn't believe how much space we had. So I didn't even get up to walk over and look at his table. And when I did, he had basically spent the entire weekend drawing Spidey 2099. And then I was like, oh, now I remember who Rick Leonardi is. and I was like, shit. And I kind of like introduced myself and I said, listen, I feel really weird about this, but I've been sitting next to you all weekend long selling this 2099 print. And I feel kind of weird about it. And I feel like I should at least give you one because I don't know. This is super awkward, and I'm making it more awkward as each second ticks by. And he basically was like, "Yeah, that's a really cool piece, man. That's a really nice pose." And that was it. And then like on Sunday, he was like, "Okay, hope you had a nice weekend. Maybe I'll see you next time." And that was my whole experience. But but he had drawn that costume all weekend long, and apparently he had also a hand in the design of the black costume as well. So during Secret Wars, he played some role in that design. So. That was a cool conversation. Yeah. Anyway.
Well, and originally that costume wasn't it going to be red? And they just left it white?
Oh, black and red? Really? I didn't know that.
I thought there was going to be like a red.
I didn't know that either. That's cool.
Huh.
Yeah,
kind of
there's
want
like,
to color it like that now and see.
Yeah, I want to see that.
yeah, it was like the very first caution designs of that before like the Secret Wars.
Oh wow, I had no idea, man.
I had a conversation with Zek, which was mind blowing because I was just like, why are we talking? And it was like before a show.
Love Zach. Love Zach. Yeah.
He's such a cool dude. Like, and he never talked to me. And we were talking about the black suit, and I feel like he said to me that story came in written by a kid about Spidey with a black suit, and he said they gave him an opportunity to write more, and he didn't have the chops to do it, but they kept the idea of the black suit for years, and then brought it back in.
Oh wow.
I mean, this was Vess, I guess, but they were going to make it red.
Huh.
And they didn't.
Is that ever cool?
I'm a big fan of Zach's stuff. I'm a big Punisher fan, so.
He's like one of those artists who it's Zek's Punisher and then everybody else's.
Yep.
Yep.
Actually, that's a good question. Who's your definitive Spider-Man artist?
Well, I love Ross Angie, but for me, it's John Romita Jr.
Yeah, man, it's tough. I guess I'm gonna have to say Ron Friends because I just think of that. I'm just thinking of that one panel where he's jumping all. There's a wide horizontal panel in that issue where he's fighting Firelord, and it's Spider-Man jumping all over him, and he's kind of semi-transparent as he's moving through each, and he's just punched him like 50 times on this one panel, and I just seeing that kind of physical, that kind of control of anatomy and space. It just hit me like this guy can draw. Like this is unbelievable, you know. So yeah, I think he's probably my guy, and it's weird. I don't think I would have said that if I hadn't had time to sort of think about it. But I probably consumed mostly John Romita Senior stuff because I probably grew up with most of that stuff, and I had like the Ditko reprints when I was a kid, like the Marvel Age books or Marvel Tales or whatever they were. Yeah, but yeah, it's been so many great Spider-Man artists.
Rob Thibodeau says Bagley.
Yeah, I couldn't get into that. I couldn't get into Bagley. I liked it, but I just wasn't. I don't know. It wasn't my Spider-Man. It seemed like a different generation for me, like of Spidey in a way.
I'm going to be unpopular and say McFarlane.
No, that's not unpopular at all.
I don't know. There was something about it. I think I didn't read a lot of Spider-Man until later, but when I first read a lot of Spider-Man, it was the McFarlane years, so I think that's probably why.
I think he just redefined Spider-Man almost like.
Well, he changed everything, man. The whole way the webs are drawn, like all that stuff is all leftover McFarlane stuff. Like it's all he changed the whole look, and you know, I don't know. I liked it. I'm not a giant McFarlane guy, but I loved his stuff on Spidey and Hulk, like the early days stuff. Like I never was just much of a Spawn guy, but I love his Spidey for sure.
I wasn't reading comics anymore, and then I think it was Spidey. Somebody fact check me on this. I think it was Spidey 302, and it's Spidey, Silver Sable, and Sandman on the cover.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like something at the docks or something like that.
Yeah.
Is the blurb. And I'd never seen Spidey drawn like that, and I'd never seen the web line look like that. He's the reason I picked up comics again.
Yeah.
I'd never seen it.
I'm gonna just throw it out there. If anybody wants to start bidding on these, just say whoever one you want to bid on and how much you want to bid on it. But I am gonna start it at $50 each at minimal, because these are gonna probably go for a little bit more than that for sure. But just throw it in the comments, and then we'll carry it over until the next day, and we'll cut it off Thursday at noon.
Sweet. Yeah, excellent. Think of the children.
Think of the children.
Yeah,
Kids
Helpphone it's awesome. It's an awesome company, man.
It's not anything for kids, man. I just anything.
Oh yeah.
I believe they're our future.
Are you gonna start singing?
That's what I keep hearing.
We should write a song about that.
If you'd like Chris to sing, just put your bid in the.
I'll come to the house.
He'll sing "Happy Birthday." We'll do a video. Isn't that a thing these days where you could pay like a celebrity to make a video for you?
Oh yeah, man! I had Jake the Snake call my mom.
Is that right?
He also made her a video.
That's the whole story. That alone is enough.
That's amazing. You can just stop there, but it's amazing.
I've had my buddy Dave, when for his birthday, I got Big Van Vader to call him. And it was in the years before Vader had passed away, but it was a couple years before he passed away. And Big Van Vader, the wrestler, he called my buddy Dave, and like he actually was like half corked, like when he called, like it was Christmas time, so he was drinking the eggnog, and even in Mitch, he's like, guys, Uncle Vader's had a little bit of the eggnog tonight, like it was, but it was pretty good, and it was super cool, man, and like it was cool because with Jake the Snake, like all I had to do was kind of give a list of like whoever I wanted mentioned. So I mentioned my two brothers and stuff, and like, you know, my mom's name and whatever. And then like Jake just takes the little bits of information and he cuts a promo. And it's incredible. So he's like, oh, there was Audrey, you know, she gave birth to Dave. Oh, Dave was a terrible mess. You know, Dave was crapping all over the place. And then Mike, I mean, forget about it. Like, you know, and it was just like, it was just him cutting a promo on my mom about her boys, basically.
That's
so
amazing.
It was pretty awesome, man. Yeah.
That's so great.
You know who's sort of a forgotten Spidey artist who was insanely great at Spidey was Ringo.
Oh, absolutely, man. Oh.
He drew an incredible. First of all, he drew maybe the best Fantastic Four in my opinion, but like his Spidey is insane.
Yeah.
He was so good.
He was so good. He was just next level. I never got to meet him, and I never actually. It's weird. Like I went through a whole period of time where I wasn't collecting any comics, and I missed his entire FF run. But and I'm an FF guy, so that was like a weird thing to miss, especially after hearing how good it was. But I know he was beloved by so many people. But I can't say I ever met the guy. But his work is just unbelievable.
Yeah, he was like ahead of his time a little bit too, because that sort of cartoony, clean style wasn't happening when he was doing everything. Everybody was still sort of, you know, it was that 90s sort of style.
Yeah. And
he just came in there with those clean lines and just, man, and like Telos hooked me, and he was just so talented.
I'm a sucker for, you know, any kind of like, you know, Tiger Warrior kind of comic book, right? Like I love that kind of stuff. Like
he was really incredible.
Oh yeah.
So mine's done. I'm not coloring it.
Oh wait, we have to color these things? I can't.
You don't have to color.
No, you don't have to color it if you don't want to, man.
We got.
I didn't want to ink it.
Very cool.
I can't help it. I'm in a big mixed media kick, so
No, you're a painter, Casey. You can't fight the painter, man. The painter knows best.
What time? How much time do we have?
We got 25 minutes.
Okay.
25 minutes. Best Spidey villain.
Ooh, like the Vulture was kind of fun.
Best Spidey villain.
I have to go Gabi, because Norman's been involved in so many things he didn't even know he was involved in.
Absolutely. It's tough. Spidey villain.
And that's not to say the other ones aren't incredible. I mean, I don't know if he's not my favorite Spidey villain, but he's involved in everything in Spidey's life in one way, shape, or form.
Oh yeah. Man, that's tough.
Yeah, but if you see it, like if you were to see a comic, who would you want him up against? Like just personally.
So many great ones.
Morbius.
Ooh.
Yeah, he's fun. He's fun. Yeah.
Morbius.
I always kind of liked it when Spidey was fighting like a bigger opponent. Like I'm always gonna have a soft spot for. I think maybe Sandman's possibly the most creative villain he's got. Like I always loved the idea of Sandman. But and you can do anything you want with that guy. You know what's weird? I really loved it when Spidey would like tangle with guys like like Puma or like Sabretooth, like those kinds of characters. But they weren't really what I'd call like Spidey mainstays at all. Puma maybe. I think Puma pretty much only ever showed up in Spidey comics, but he was not like what I'd call like an A-list Spidey villain as much as I enjoyed it. But
one of my earlier was actually, I think my first comic was the Prowler.
Yeah, Prowler's great.
There was something about that cover. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Prowler's cool. Prowler's a cool design too.
Yep.
I love how crazy powerful they made him in that movie too. Like I wouldn't have picked him in a million years. He wouldn't have been my guess as the main bad guy in that film. Like not ever. Like that was pretty cool. Spoiler alert! It's if you haven't seen it, it's Prowler. But
you just ruined Spider-Man.
Oh man, I just killed Spider-Man. Whole franchise is gonna collapse. But
Julian says Dr. Octopus, Mobius, Lizard. Oh yes, Tombstone. I have to agree. I love Tombstone.
Yeah, he's kind of a neat character.
I like him.
I always hated Doc Ock, but I'm probably in the minority here. But I did not hate the Superior Spider-Man stuff. I loved it. I knew it wasn't going to last forever, but there was something about.
Oh, it was great.
There was something about how he was able to use the best parts of Peter, and that character. I think Otto evolves in that whole situation as well, and it he has to live as Peter, and he kind of becomes Peter in a lot of ways, and it was so different and so kind of weird. And I thought going in I was gonna hate it for sure. And I only read it because someone gave me a cover to draw on, and I was like, "What's this Superior Spider-Man all about?" And I actually dug it, man. I thought it was kind of, and I knew it was gonna last forever. Like I knew it was gonna, nothing ever lasts forever at Marvel, right? But
yeah,
and
that character in the Avengers run was amazing. The Superior Spider-Man.
I didn't get any of that, but I'm assuming, yeah. I mean, a lot of people, well, no one knew it was Doc Ock, right? As far as I know, like until people knew.
That's usually how it works, yeah.
Yeah. But we knew, as the reader, we knew. That's what I mean. Like,
I know my head was churning there for a minute. That's deep. That's deep, Mike. You never know until you know.
We were the only ones who knew, though. We were the only ones as the readers who actually knew. That's all I'm saying.
That was like a yogi.
Ken Lashley's on. He's saying Spider-Man challenge, eh?
Oh, wait. So Lashley...
Jump on and smoke us.
Yeah, Lashley could join right now and beat us.
It's Prowler. Lashley's dude is
Ken,
Prowler.
let me know if you want in. I'll send you the link.
Take us to school, Ken.
We got 20 minutes left.
He could do a cover in 20 minutes.
He could do it standing on his head, blindfolded, in 20 minutes.
Oh, Ken would have been perfect for what people bring at shows because when I was at one show, he has like a bakery under his table.
Yep.
I've brought him Cinnabons.
And there's those chips he likes, what are they called, Zoots or something like that? I've seen him eat tons. I've seen a lot of those get dropped off at his table, man. I never see him eat the food though. I don't know if he does. I think he's just like. But he gets lots of it. I always see lots of it.
I know there's certain kind of chips. I don't know, and the Cinnabons. And my whole job is just to get milk because you can't eat all that stuff without milk.
That's awesome.
That's it. If Chris is on a show, bring milk.
That's it. I'm just gonna give it to Ken. Like Ken's one of those dudes, like I actually learned, and I've told him this before, I actually learned how to be, the way he handles fans is something that I've tried to emulate in how I conduct myself at the table.
He's so loved, yeah.
You know, there's just a way that he carries himself at the show that I've tried to just, I'm not saying that I'm really as good at it, but he just, like, it's the way we should treat fans.
Yep.
Ken says Campana did not deliver the milk.
That's not true. That's not true. The milk was there in Toronto a couple of years ago, and that's how I learned that in Toronto they come in like bags. It's like a bag of milk.
Brings a bag of milk. That's really Canadian, man.
That's true. I didn't know that until I tried to get the milk and it was a bag.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can't wait to see Spawn, Ken.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Shout out, Ken. I can't wait to see the Spawn. Okay, another question here. Spider-Man teams up with another Marvel character and faces off against a villain in one of the off issues. You get to draw. Who do you pick?
For me, it's Moon Knight. Spidey teams up with Moon Knight.
Oh my God!
Oh yeah.
Who do they go up against?
Oh, does it matter? It's Moon Knight. As long as I'm going to draw Moon Knight, I don't care. They could go.
They have to fight each other, and then
Oh yeah, have them fight each other.
How about Moon Knight and Spidey go against some kind of ancient Egyptian god and Morbius?
Wasn't there one in an X-Men comic way back? I think Havoc goes up against them. There was
Egyptian god?
Yeah. I'm losing it now. Yeah, I read it years ago. It was in an Uncanny X-Men. Anyway, shout out if anybody knows who it is. I'm an old man. I forget these things.
Man, that's tough.
That's a good pick, though. Moon Knight. And Chris draws a great Moon Knight.
Oh, man, I saw that one you did today or this week. It's crazy.
Thank you. That's a design that I did for a failed pitch last year for Marvel.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. It was the wraps on his arms are called, in the book that we did, they're called the wraps of Khonshu, because I wanted him to be a little bit stronger. Yep. So those wraps were like infused with like ancient Egyptian powers and stuff like that. So he could go toe to toe with some bigger villains.
Oh, man, that's awesome.
The whole thing of the pitch, Erica Schultz and I, like, we pitched this. We thought it was a really cool story. I'd had it bouncing around for years, and it was like taken back to the beginning of when Khonshu started resurrecting people and why Khonshu started doing that. It was like sort of like a Moon Knight year one kind of thing. And we thought it was a cool idea, but unfortunately it didn't work out.
Oh, man, I would have bought the hell out of that, man. That sounds awesome. It's funny. I kind of feel like I might be in the minority of this, but because I've had this conversations with big Moon Knight fans. One guy that comes to mind is actually the great artist and friend of ours, Fernando Ruiz, which you guys probably know.
Yep.
He teaches at Joe Kubert School as well, but just a huge Moon Knight guy. And we had a conversation one day about Moon Knight, and I told him how my first exposure to Moon Knight was not the Bill Mantlo stuff or the Sienkiewicz stuff or any of that. It was actually the Fist of Khonshu 6-issue series, which had like crazy delays and like it kind of like the first 3 or 4 issues are kind of connected, and then the last 2 kind of trail off. But like Sienkiewicz does an issue at the end. But I love that series because he's stronger in that. He's got those wristbands, and like he can I remember in the Marvel Universe guide, which is probably my favorite comic actually, was the old Marvel Universe handbooks. But like the write up on Moon Knight is so great, and the Khonshu stuff makes him a bit stronger. Like I always thought that was cool. He was stronger if he was fighting in Moonlight and stuff. I thought that was such a great thing about that character. But
so it wasn't Apocalypse. I would have remembered Apocalypse. And Paulie got it right. It was the Living Monolith. You guys remember that character?
Yeah, I remember the Living Monolith. Yep.
Yeah.
I didn't answer that team up. Well, go ahead.
Sorry. Ken's letting you have it, Chris.
Because he hates Moon Knight. He goes,
well, he says you're pretty awesome, but he's here to support the Canadians.
Well, wait. I like Rush.
Oh
yeah. Well, then you're automatically a Canadian.
Pretty much.
I got serious street credit with Rush because I like even old school Rush.
Oh yeah, man.
So
some Fly By Night.
Fly By Night.
Oh yeah.
I even like I Think I'm Going Bald.
Yeah, man.
Dude, I like everything they did. You know what though? I'm gonna say it right here, Chris. I think you and I should do the Bytor and the Snow Dog comic book that never happened.
Bytor
and the Snow Dog.
I love that song. I just feel like it would make such a wicked graphic novel.
Ken says no points, suck up. Anyway.
That hurts. I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
This is not shocking.
Can't find my light red marker. No.
If Bradshaw was on, I would jokingly say that I like Nickelback.
Yeah, man, that guy hates Nickelback, eh?
Back over the border.
I mean, I hate Nickelback too, but yeah, he really hates Nickelback.
Oh, Bradshaw, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So actually, that's a good question. What do you guys like to draw to when do you listen to music?
Yep.
Yes.
When you draw?
I listen to an illegal radio station. Well, I don't know if it's illegal, but it used to be called Devil's Night Radio, and they got taken off the air a couple of years ago in the States. It's an online radio station, but I found like a secret feed to it. So if you listen to Devil's Night and you need that link, I can give you the link. But it's just
illegal.
It just plays an amazing mix of just kind of cool, weird music, like everything from like, you know, like Johnny Cash to Motorhead. Like, I mean, it's just a really nice kind of, I don't know. I just like it. It puts me in a good place. And that and the Conan soundtrack and a lot of Rush, actually. I listen to probably 2112 at least once a week, and Conan soundtrack at least once a week. And yeah.
For me, it kind of depends on what I'm drawing that day.
I'm such a nerd. I have the Conan soundtrack and I listen to it in the car.
Oh yeah. Stop at
a stoplight and really.
Oh yeah. If I'm inking or something like that, or if I'm drawing something technical, I always try to listen to stuff that's more technical. I'll listen to classical music when I'm drawing, and I find like I'll hit a point where I'll just be firing on all cylinders, and I blame the music. Like there's this, I don't know, I feel like it lines up my brain mathematically better, and sometimes I get better results. If I have to do like serious stuff, like, or stuff that's just mind numbing, like coloring, I'll put on some classical music, and it weirdly just kind of gets me into the, I don't know, the right headspace for it. Oh, I didn't put the shoes on. I went ahead and forgot to put the shoes. Sorry, Davis, I didn't draw the right shoes.
Grab the whole piece.
I got carried away.
Don't worry, you got 13 minutes. You can redo this.
Well, Mike knows me. I listen to classical music too, pretty much exclusively. But
oh yeah,
not so much when I'm drawing this stuff. I can, but I'll just have like a TV show in the background, just as white noise or something. But I'm trying to I'm getting into podcasts more now. I'm kind of a late comer with that.
Well, I've been doing a lot of audiobooks too. Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say I know a podcast.
Anything but the fastball special.
Yeah, no, you don't listen to that dribble. No.
They get these old artists on there whinging on about nerdy shit that no one cares about, you know?
That's what I listen to,
yeah. You can't even remember the Living Pharaoh. What the hell is wrong with that guy?
The Living Pharaoh.
Living Pharaoh, the monolith.
I don't even know who that character is.
No?
No. I know I lose a little bit of street cred with that, but I don't want to lie to anybody. I have no idea who that character is.
He's got kind of a singlet.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the greatest.
He was just like a monster of the month kind of thing, man.
Yeah.
The Hulk once, I'm pretty sure. Living monolith. I remember him on a Hulk.
That's right.
I'm thinking of the right character.
Yeah, man.
Like he just made a break.
Am I still getting attacked by Lashley right now?
No. He says he loves you guys.
Oh man.
I got much love for Ken.
Not enough to come on though. Just kidding, Ken. Ken's a busy guy.
Yeah, it'd be great to have Ken on here. He could do 10 drawings while I do one, and it'd be awesome.
If Ken's on, I can't make it that week.
No.
Yeah, no, I know. I've never done a sketch duel with Ken.
Ken's like, no.
I had the pleasure of taking a cab ride with Ken. We were on the same flight, me and Richard Pace, when we went to Chicago this year. It was like the last convention we did. And that was an enjoyable car ride from the airport.
Richard Pace. I'm going to reach out to him.
Richard? Oh, man, he'd be fun to duel with for sure.
Yeah,
he's a great guy.
Tons of stuff. And so is Ken. I think Jim Lee was just posting Ken's stuff. Like they've both been doing a lot for charity.
Yep.
Yeah, I've got one coming from Richard. What he did is he like some great art at a steal, to be honest. And everything's going towards the food bank.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Didn't he already raise like $5,000 or something like that, or it was some?
Yeah, he's got like
huge number,
100 or 120 to do.
Yeah, yeah.
He's a cool dude. He's also insanely like he's so technically talented.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I never seen anyone can hatch like that guy. That guy is like a master of he just tears it up, man. He just he's like, oh, this guy's got a black cape. Cool, I'm gonna hatch the whole thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? No brush fill, no flat marker fill. No, it's cross hatched. But now it's like a living, breathing cape, and it's no longer just a black cape. Now it's a thing that you can feel the fiber of the, he's just incredible. He's just great at what he does.
Very cool. Matt Brubaker says, I spot Venom. You're the man, Chris.
Hey, can you let her in?
Kyle's saying, yeah, Pace is doing it for the food bank. That's right.
Yeah.
That's another good one. Maybe we'll do one for that.
Yeah, sure, man.
I think he might have done several charities, but I don't know.
I'm gonna zoom in on that one, Casey. That looks pretty cool. Getting some color on that.
Yeah, I got kind of a weird angle and lighting going on, but
wow.
All the
Oh yeah, look at
very cool.
Yeah,
I haven't checked in a while. Is there any bids up on here? Get yourself some very cool original art.
Richard did a really nice Hellboy recently too.
Richard does a nice Hellboy every time he draws that character. He kills Hellboy, man. He's wicked at Hellboy.
Yeah.
He's a big Hellboy and Conan fan, isn't he?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. He does a kill. He used to draw Conan though. I think he did some like Robert E. Howard stuff for Dark Horse, I believe.
It was the yes.
Robert E. Howard Savage Sword book, I think.
Yeah, it was a Savage Sword. I think it was Brand Mackey did.
Yeah, Brand McMorn. Yeah,
Brand
McMorn.
McMorn.
Yeah. Who's basically Conan. Only a picked, right? It's the only real, he's kind of like a painted Conan.
Paul Lemenko's back. Best Spidey villain costume to draw.
Best Spidey villain and costume to draw.
Yeah.
I keep thinking of Electro's head being so silly, but
OG Electro is the best.
Yeah. Every time you think
original costume, the
worst.
I think I don't know. I love Mysterio. I love the classic original Mysterio, and I was so happy. For many years, I thought, I hope they never put Mysterio in the films because they're going to screw up his costume, and we're never going to get the fishbowl head. And I was wrong. They gave it to us, and it was great.
I liked it.
I liked it a lot. It was teched up a bit, but I was really content with that. And for me, I don't know. That's a good question. I got a soft spot for the Hobgoblin. I know he's not as cool as the Green Goblin in a lot of ways, but I love his color scheme. I love that gray and orange, that kind of blue chainmail kind of look to him, and I love his weird yellow mask and the orange kind of gloves and that. I don't know. I've always kind of had a soft spot for that guy.
I still like the Kingpin too, even though he's a Daredevil guy.
Yeah.
He's good against Spidey.
I think he's been in enough Spider-Man. He's also a Spider-Man. He is a Daredevil guy.
He first showed up in Spider-Man, though. I don't think he first debuted in Daredevil. I think it was in Spidey. So I remember him being a major
Spider-Man 50,
Spider-Man
right?
inside.
Was it 50?
I loved the Peter Parker Spectacular around issue 100 or so, and it was always like villain of the month with the Kingpin pulling the strings always, and it was so good. It was just fantastic. And I loved how the Kingpin was never really a fat guy. When you finally see him in the dojo and he's beating up 10 practice ninjas, and he's fully ripped, he has he's got a 6-pack, but he's just massively scaled,
I loved Kingpin in that animated Spider-Man movie.
Oh yeah, man!
What a great design on that.
Oh yeah,
it was just massive,
out of control.
So just time check, guys. 5 minutes.
5 minutes. I still got to do my red web lines. You know what? Some of this is going to probably go into overtime.
I'm gonna be probably at least an hour more working on this, but
Wow.
doesn't mean we're going to be on together. But
I'm happy to stay and hang out as long as anyone wants to keep watching. Honestly, I don't mind. But like, yeah, I know everyone's got stuff to do in that. I got a deadline. I really probably shouldn't be doing this right now, but I didn't want to miss it. And I didn't have a deadline when I booked this date, so.
I'll keep going, but you know, feel free to drop off if you need to drop off. Like Chris didn't even want to ink.
Well, I mean,
I'm glad he
That's
did though,
true.
because that looks so crazy.
He's like, I'm done in 5 minutes.
well, it's not just I didn't want to ink. I don't think anybody really wanted me to ink.
Oh, that's not true. It looks great.
Thanks, bro.
All right, you know what? I'm gonna show mine off.
Yeah,
So
let's see it, man.
we'll just get it out of the way. We got some spider ham.
oh,
Shift it over, man. I got. I'm looking at you in the tiny screen here. Hold on.
Oh, here, let me big it up a bit. Hold on.
Yeah, right on.
Spider ham.
Yes.
Spider
That's
ham.
awesome.
That's wicked, man. Nice job.
Woo.
did you
I know my limitations.
I'll bet on that.
Did you stencil those letters in pencil first?
No, I went right to ink, guy. Well,
Savage.
Martin doesn't mess
Savage.
around, man.
savage. Look, I even put a little spider on the S.
No, that was great. That's a great. Those details mean a lot.
It's the details.
Oh yeah. 5 minutes. That's a bunch of garbage. I'm taking at least 8 minutes. Sorry, that's the way it's gonna
So,
be.
Sunshine Brie Baker. I'm late for the show. A little bit. There's 3 minutes left, but we're gonna
She loves Venom.
we're gonna go a little bit over time. So how do you bid? Okay, so you could actually bid right there and start the bids in the comments. We're starting them at $50 each. Just let me know which one you want to bid on and how much you want to bid. We're going to continue. I'm going to do an official bid on the Fastball Special page with the pictures of the three, and we're going to keep the biddings going till noon on Thursday. So I'll make sure that what they want to know what my commission rate is.
Told you, man.
I'm sorry. So, where was I? Anyway, so yeah, so we're gonna keep the bidding going till Thursday noon. I'm gonna have a separate post just for that with the three pictures up, and the highest bid by noon on Thursday, we'll reach out to them. Go to the Kids Helpphone. We'll put a link in there for the Kids Helpphone. Do a donation. Show us a receipt for it, and we'll mail out your piece. And yes, apparently Sunshine likes Venom. Chris, can you move that up just a little bit so we can see the whole thing? Here, I'm going to spotlight it. Wow.
Jeez.
Whatever, man. Holy moly.
Wow.
Flying.
I love the way you lit that. Oh, killer. Oh, man.
Oh.
Teach me your skills.
$50 on Chris already. $78 on Tim's. So we're gonna go in increments of $5, guys. We don't know 50 cents going on. So yeah, we're gonna go in increments of $5, and we're gonna continue on till Thursday at noon.
That's awesome.
Spidey figure not included.
No, not for sale.
Yeah, that is a treasure, man. The one I always wanted when I was a kid was I wanted the black suit Secret Wars Spider-Man. My neighbor had it, and he wouldn't let us touch it because those toys were such junk because the paint would come off as soon as you touched them. And he wouldn't let anyone touch his Spider-Man because, of course, it had that white wraparound graphic spider emblem, and it looked so good, but it would wipe right off. Like, it would just, you could literally just rub it off with your thumb. It was a nightmare, those toys.
You
But
never touch another
cool.
man's Spider-Man.
I saw that at a flea market last year, and the guy, it was still on card, and the dude wanted, I think, like $60 for it, and which is a little high, but there's just something about that suit, and I didn't buy it, but it was hard to walk away from.
You said $60 for that?
60 on card. The card wasn't perfect.
Oh, okay, yeah. Huh.
But he had that, and he had a Wolverine.
Yeah, man, the Wolverine. That's like the first Wolverine toy ever, I think. So it was
Really?
Yeah, it was kind of a big deal because Wolvie was like Wolvie before that, and to my mind anyway, I was about, I guess 8 or 9 when that stuff came out, 8 years old probably. I remember Wolvie, that was the first toy because it was such a big deal that he had the claws. Like it was just like clip on, but they had claws, like, and yeah, it was a wicked figure because up till that, Spidey Wolverine, other than comics, he had only appeared on the TV show like the Marvel, the Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends as an Australian. But I don't know how those things are related, but to my mind, that was like the same year, kind of, and yeah, I don't remember ever seeing a Wolverine toy or before that. Like, so it might be the first one. I think it is. I could be wrong. There's probably some toy nerd out there that could go, "You're so stupid, Ruth. You don't know nothing." But I don't know.
Nerd.
What's your? I'm a toy nerd. What's your most prized possession? Comic related.
Ooh.
I come with the hardball questions, man.
Yeah, you do.
Professional.
Mine's Moon Knight Once and Kevin and Monk.
Wow.
I have that whole run.
That's good. That's
very good.
Prize
could be anything.
You know what? For me, the strongest memory for me, like I said, one of my favorite comics is the Marvel is the Marvel Handbook, the Marvel Universe guidebook or whatever, and I love Blastar, and I remember when I was a kid, I was a huge FF guy, and I sought out the first appearance of Blastar because I knew which issue it was because of that Marvel Handbook. And I remember it cost like $20 or something like that, which in 1986 was a fortune to me. But and I got a lot of heat for it because I'd never spent that much money on the comic book before. But yeah, it was the first appearance of Blastar, and I still have it. And the memory is so strong. That's got to be my favorite. That's probably my most prized comic. Yeah.
That is a cool cover too. That's the one where he's out in space, right? Like a sort of a cosmic type thing. Yeah. I love that cover.
For me, it'd probably be the Hulk 102. Got a nice cover.
102. Yeah.
That's like when the series started up again after the Tales.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Now I got to look it up because I think I know, but I'm not sure.
Kind of like the premiere issue after, like he gets his own magazine, his own comic.
Yep. Oh yes. Oh, that's a sick cover too.
If anybody wants to just send a Werewolf by Night 32, I'm open to it.
You'll be okay with that?
Yeah, I mean, sure.
Then next time I ask what was your best gift,
It'd still be a second to Man at Arms, but
okay.
Speaking of Moon Knight, that's so funny that I mentioned that Fisticon shoe series earlier. I had issues 1, 3, 4, 5, and 6, but I never had issue 2. And when the internet was born, and I found out about a thing called eBay, I thought, well, I wonder if I can find that comic book so I can finally complete that set. And I did, and the comic book was 20 cents. It was 20 cents, and I think I won it for 25 cents or something like that. But it cost like $30 to ship it.
Wow!
but I was able to complete the collection finally and get the story, and yeah.
So Dominic Zadera just bid $125 for each of them.
Whoa! Right on, Dominic. Cheers, brother.
Yo, what's up? Dominic's a cool dude.
Michael Jason Waters says Stanley did a Loot Crate type box and they had a Venom with Stanley's face on the cover. Got it signed in Atlanta in 2017. Means a lot to me.
Oh man, that would, yeah, that's
for
crazy.
Sure.
He's a big Michael's a big Venom fan.
Yeah?
Yeah, big Venom fan.
I got my issue 1 of Longbow Hunters signed by Mike Grell on the first Comic-Con I ever went to. And believe it or not, I believe Casey was with me. I think it was like
4 or something like
2004, yeah. And I was like much heavier and I had my beard shaved off. So I looked like the Kingpin walking around. And,
picture with Cobra Commander?
There's that picture of Cobra Commander. Yeah, that Cobra Commander cosplay. That's right. Yeah. But I remember meeting Mike Grell and just stammering some kind of fanboy nonsense to him while he signed my book, and I was just like, but no, sorry, not the book. He signed the book, yes, but he also signed the poster. And the poster, I had this poster that I've had since like 1987 or 88 when that series came out. And I've had that on I've moved about 20 times in my life, and it's the first thing that goes up in my house no matter where I go. And it's all ratty and torn, like the corners are all glued and busted and torn. But he signed it. He'd laugh, and he's like, holy geez, you couldn't find a better copy of this? And I'm like, this is my real thing, man. This was like, I bought this on the day, kind of thing. And he was super cool.
Tim Duncan's at 140 for each of all three.
Oh, Tim. Tim's a really good guy. Excellent guy.
Awesome, guys.
Hi, Tim.
Yeah, Mike Grell, he was great to talk to. I just got sucked into this conversation, and all we talked about was archery for like half an hour. I didn't realize he was that big an archer.
Oh, dude, he's like the horseback archer. Like he's one of those crazy dudes. Like, yeah, you don't mess around with Mike, man. He's awesome.
And it was funny because I actually took my first and only archery lesson just before that Comic-Con. So I was just talking to him about it, and then he just goes on to all these stories, and I'm like, wow, I didn't realize he was the real deal. It's probably why he was so good at drawing.
Oh yeah. Yeah, last time I saw him, I got a sketch from him because I had to. Like, we were sitting across from him at Montreal. I think it was either Montreal. No, it was Ottawa. And oh man, he did a killer piece for me. Just like he was offering headshots that day, like in ink for $50 or something. And I mostly want to just stand there and just watch him draw. And it's one of my favorite things because I had done a Green Arrow sketch cover myself prior to that, and and it was a big epic piece for a friend of mine, Keith, if he's listening out there. Keith had this crazy. He wanted like a tribute to the Longbow Hunter series, so I actually did like a front and back wraparound full painting, and I even broke up little panels the same way the way that Grell used to do it on the covers of the books. Like he would do these little like kind of vignettes and little like headshot of like Mockingbird or somebody, or not Mockingbird, Black Canary. Anyway, I was going somewhere with this story. Hold on now. Just had one of them classic.
Did you get lost in it?
Just had a classic Rooth fade out there. That's what it was. Yeah. So I did this thing and I had it on my phone and I showed it to him. And he had like a price list on his table, and it was like, $50 for a headshot, or it was like $100 for a full figure. And he said, if you want it on a sketch cover, it's going to be an extra $70 because I hate drawing on sketch covers. So I just had him draw it on like 11 by 17. He did this. He just went straight to ink, no pencils, straight to ink, perfect Ollie Queen headshot with the hood and everything. And we just chatted the whole time. And I showed him the piece that I did. And he's like zoomed in on the phone. He's like, oh man, he goes, this is really crazy. He goes, how did you get the logo on there? And I'm like, oh, it's a sketch cover. And he's like, sketch cover? And he threw my phone at me. He goes, get out of here, you son of a bitch.
Oh my God.
It was awesome. It's one of those things that only happens at a Comic-Con. Yeah, it was so awesome, man.
Oh my God.
No, it made the whole convention. It was amazing.
Mike Grell is not into that whole CGC thing and all that. I was actually up there, and I got a commission from him, and he needed a ruler. He didn't have a ruler, so this one guy the poor guy was coming up with his book that he was going to get CGC'd, and he pulled the book over and he used it as a ruler. And I was like, oh shit. I was like, sorry, man. Like, I don't know.
That is gold. I love it.
Yeah. Wow. So Dominic's up to 150 for all three, and then Paulie just threw in a 175 for Casey's.
Nice.
Thank you. What a nice guy too, and he won the bids on
the Hawkman, right?
Last time, yeah.
Yeah.
Paulie's the real deal, man. He's a big time collector. Always happy to know my art's going to him.
Awesome.
Can you guys see my dog chewing his toy?
A little bit. It's all right.
He's going at it.
Part of the entertainment.
He's been waiting 2 hours to come into the studio and see what Dad's doing, and now he's got high anxiety going on, sitting on the couch.
So can we all agree on the living monolith for next one?
Well, once again, I can't make it. Living monolith against Paste Pot Pete.
Oh, old school throwdown there. What was Paste Pot Pete again? Was he Mix Master or no? Shit, what was his real name?
I know he became the Trapster.
The Trapster. Oh. Sorry, that's what it was. Yeah.
There's an old school cover of him. It's like Human Torch 4 or something like that, where he's like he's going against Human Torch. You know, like the old school covers would have these great, lines going back and forth. These little like quips going back and forth. I don't remember, but the guy had like a Picasso hat on. Like he's out of control. He had no business like being involved.
Paste Pot Pete.
Paste Pot Pete.
I like his hat.
I thought the gimmick was – I love that the gimmick was that he hated being called Paste Pot Pete so much that he'd just literally lose his shit. And that's how every fight would be won. Like, they would just push him too far,
That is a great premise for a character.
I've had it with this shit.
Stop
calling me Paste Pot Pete.
Like Paste Pot. That's such a like it's the little tiny.
I can't stop saying it.
I know, Paste Pot. It's like a little trip through time. Paste Pot was a thing that you would have had on your desk as a kid in like the 60s and 70s, I guess, like for doing your crafts at school, a Paste Pot. It's so great.
Oh, there's a great cover with him with the torch and the thing.
Oh yeah, there would be. Oh yeah.
Hold on, I'm gonna share this. It's too good not to.
A little bit of the whitewash.
Check this out.
Look at that! Look how cool that is.
This is amazing.
Oh geez.
Oh, but he's not wearing the hat in that one.
No. But he's got a Paste Pot outfit. He doesn't have the bucket in this one.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Can you find that cover, the one with him and Human Torch, where I really think it's issue 4. It might be Strange Tales 4. I don't know what it is, but he's so ridiculous. Like he looks like he has no business being anywhere.
Does he have an action figure?
If he doesn't, somebody better get on it. Maybe one of those action figure nerds can get on it.
Okay, I found a site.
I only said action figure nerds because I always wanted to be one, and I never had any cool toys that way. Like I always
a site called Most Embarrassing Supervillains. Marvel wants you to forget. He's number 4.
Wasn't there a guy called like the Hypno Hustler? That's a Spidey villain. He's like a disco guy. I think he was called like the Hypno Hustler or something like that. Super bad, super terrible character, but.
Julian saying Sketchlemania 4 is going to get sticky.
Yeah, well, I'll just draw Slide, and I'll undo any stickiness with Slide.
Oh.
I think I'm done.
Yeah. It's all good, man. We went overtime on this one.
No, I think the drawing's done.
Huh?
I think the drawing's done. Not me personally, but I think the drawing's done.
Oh.
I'm going to make this bigger on my screen. That is awesome. Man, that is so great. I love those little ticks of white highlight, like cutting through.
I'm just gonna keep going on this. I want this to be I don't know. I gotta, throw everything I got at everything. So
I want to fix Spidey's eye because he's got a.
I was gonna say fix that eye.
Honestly,
fix the eye. Okay, you got to see this. This is great. Right here. So I win again. Here's a nice sticky present for you, Torch.
Look at that hat. Look at
this guy's amazing.
He has no business.
He's got he's got his little pot.
I like his outfit.
Yeah.
The hat.
It's kind of military-like. Oh,
He
look at
is
this one.
out of control. There it is. There it is. That big picture right in the second row. That's the one with him with Human Torch.
This one right here.
Yep, that's the one.
Wow.
Look at that.
Yeah, that's
Blazing brat.
Yeah.
Got a whole bucket.
Oh, I like
Oh,
the
wait,
hat.
there it is. There it is.
Yeah. See? That is burned,
That hat.
no pun intended, into my head.
Wow.
Needs a backpack or something.
Look how pissed off Paste Pot Pete is.
He's so mad.
He's had it.
He's gritting his teeth.
He's had it with your bullshit.
Stop.
The only problem with him as a sketch battle subject is no one's going to bid on a drawing of Paste Pot Pete. Unless someone out there wants to prove me wrong, I'll draw that shit next week. But
No, put like Batman up against Paste Pot Pete.
Give Batman 5 minutes, he'll take him out.
Oh.
Horrible.
that is some funny stuff.
Oh, it's so great.
I'm done.
That looks great, Chris.
Thank you.
Thanks
Yeah, that's
thanks for
badass,
coming
man.
out for this.
Thanks for putting up with me. It was fun. I might add some like little detail on the front of this, like the building face, but not too much.
You get two characters on that one. That's crazy.
Yeah, man, that's awesome.
Well, yeah, because the composition was poor, so I had to fill this whole thing up.
Put a Spider-Man in the Spider-Man one.
It worked so well. That's so great.
Thank you. See if I can get the gel pen to do a little bit of the web line through here.
Is that what you like to use for highlights? Is the gel pen? Yeah.
Yeah, because if I use anything else, I'll mess it up. So the gel pen's like really forgiving. Like if I mess up, I can just go back over it with any kind of like heavy black that I'm using.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And for some, like I tend to choke the life out of my pencils when I ink it. It doesn't have as much energy as it does when I'm penciling stuff. So the gel pen, when I go in, I can kind of like haphazardly do these lines, and they sort of make sense to my eye, and they give it energy again, like all this stuff through here, and even some of the separations lines. Like it just kind of feels like there's motion to it.
Yeah, for sure. No, I murder my pencils every time I ink. I I try to keep my pencils minimal now because I know I'm gonna it's all gonna be wasted time for me because I'll go to the effort of doing really tight pencils and then I'll start inking and just make dumb decisions anyway. So I just know just put the time into the inking, even if it's mostly whiteout. It's I find for me the penciling is just I always keep mine real loose for that reason.
That looks great, Mike. Holy crap.
Yeah, that's killer.
Thanks, dude. Yeah, it was a weird reflection, but I'm trying to keep it kind of
Wow.
the right way.
That's a really good.
It's got like this cool motion, like this gracefulness to it, like right before the next thing's gonna happen.
Thanks, man. I don't feel like it looks young enough though. Like again, I think I've done like 25-year-old Miles here, but that's okay. He'll still be in the role, I think. He'll be around a while, I think, Miles.
That's just Miles 2099.
Sure, yeah. Actually, yeah.
Created by
2029 maybe.
First appearance, guys. Kyle says Mike's a beast.
Beast.
Michael says thank you. These are all great.
Oh, thank you, Michael.
Thanks, Michael.
Muchos gracias.
Ian says on Paste Pot Pete, damn it.
If I could pull up reference in right now, I would draw it on the back of this piece.
Yeah, you know what? I almost want to start a Paste Pot Pete sketchbook.
I feel like all the bids would be pulled if I did that, though.
Yeah.
Then you meet that one crazy Paste Pot Pete fan who refuses to draw it for you because he only wants to draw the trapster. He just won't accept the name. He just won't.
No,
he won't.
No.
You're garbage the minute you say Paste Pot. He's like, nope.
Jeez. Yeah, they changed him up. Modern Paste Pot Pete is no joke.
There is a modern Paste Pot.
There's a modern Paste Pot Pete?
Well, he's Paste Pot Pete, Spider-Man Human Torch #1. He shows up.
Oh, sweet. I got to look that up now.
I've gone down a Paste Pot Pete rabbit hole.
Lost control of the video.
All right, I'm gonna move it over to Casey's.
Why?
I'm trying to make those Spidey sitting on Venom's.
Oh yeah, man! Look at that, sweet.
Look at I do a lot to it though.
Oh, it's so cool. Can you add Spidey
Reading all the lines.
Spidey sense.
I think the best cosplay at a Comic-Con would be if you did like the half Spidey face, half Peter.
I've seen that. I'm sure I've seen that. I don't know if I've seen it in person or on the internet.
That'd be so cool. That'd be killer. Or like, I've never seen anyone. So, all right. So number one cosplay I would want to see at a show, it's off Spidey, but I want to see somebody do Frozen Captain America.
Oh, that would be badass. Yeah.
Like just wheel him in on a block of ice.
A block of ice on his head, just walking around.
The guy finds out very quickly it's the worst decision he's ever made.
Yeah.
It's
that is my favorite thing at Comic-Cons. These ridiculous outfits, and they're stuck out in the. They're stuck outside the room because they can't come in.
I pissed a cosplayer off. It was a joke, but somebody was dressed as Link, and I was like, "Nice Zelda," and I got lit up for about 5 minutes. I was like, "It's a joke. I know it's not Zelda." It didn't go well. I apologize. I'm kidding around.
I'm almost done mine too. I think here I don't know that I can push it much further than this. I'm just kind of adding a little gouache kind of white highlights because I don't know. I've never. I asked you about the gel pen because I've never found I was satisfied with the opacity of the white, but I know I can always count on a white gouache and a brush if it comes down to it. But sorry. I sometimes use these white Posca pens too. These are sometimes what I use for highlights because it's like a matte, very matte white. I used to love the white Sharpie poster paint, not the grease paint or the oil paint, but the poster paint because it scans perfectly matte and it goes over top really nice.
I got one of those and it exploded on me because I'm an idiot when I used it. Like I pressed down too hard and it just.
Yeah, they take a little bit. Yeah, a little bit of. I know. I still have total blowouts with them too. Don't ever fly with them either. Don't ever get in the plane with one because they don't blow up in the plane, but they will literally empty the minute you pop them in the drawing table.
No, I was on the way to Dallas and I was inking a sketch cover. My jeans are covered in red because of it.
Oh yeah.
It flew up on me on the plane, and I was like,
Oscar?
It was just it was bad. I have a ton of them. Like I have all different colors and everything of them.
Good to know.
Yeah, it exploded right on my jeans, but it's my favorite pair of jeans. And when I wear them, it's just because I'm an artist, I'm not a painter or anything, but I got art stuff on my jeans.
Yeah.
You got to go down and buy all your supplies down there. I mean, what do you do?
Yeah, it's nice. America has so many nice art supply stores. Like, remember the first time in Chicago going to Dick Blick's and just being like, what the heck, man? It was like just a gigantic art store. Like, there's like 3 floors or some shit. I was like, what is this crazy madhouse of art supplies?
Yeah, what's wrong with crazy store?
Tim Duncan says $175 each if Casey promises to work on my Freddy for me soon.
Oh,
the loaded.
Well, why don't we just say it's for the kids?
Gang up on me.
It's the kids.
For the kids.
For the kids.
Yeah, I'm doing a.
Guys, here's that 12-back man.
Oh, nice.
Oh yeah, that's sweet. Oh my God.
Hold on.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick that one up. Hold on. Here we go.
Oh my God, look at that.
Oh. There he is. All his glory.
That is unbelievable.
Man at arms.
Takes you back. The first one I bought was Beastman. I was so enamored with that toy. the size and scale of it when you're a 7-year-old is just unbelievable. Like those He-Man toys are bananas when you're a
They're
kid.
gigantic, yeah.
Man. Oh yeah.
Beastman's cool. Like
They're roughly the size of my Hulk.
The initial designs of Beastman, like when he was the Red Beast or whatever, I think it was Mark Taylor. Like that stuff is insane.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I love the documentaries about Marvel, about the I keep on saying Marvel, but the Masters stuff. There's some great documentaries out there.
I mean, like when the guy said they were going to name Merman Seaman and you didn't see a problem with it.
Oh, that's good.
Can I get a Seaman commission?
You know what Seaman? Is Seaman done?
Harkens back to the blue guy.
Sorry, man. I made a mess of your semen. I'm sorry.
Oh.
I apologize.
So they could have Paste Pot Pete against Seaman.
Got a whole house full of semen.
It's everywhere.
My man cave is just covered. The walls are covered in semen.
Well, for all our listeners.
And we officially went too far. Sorry about that, guy.
This is Sketchlemania After Dark. After Dark version. Oh my God.
Hey, Mike, I got this too. You were talking about this.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, it's so good, man. I know. Man,
Monster.
so rad. Just a giant, thick book. It's great. You can kill a man with that.
Bruce Timm's got some insane stuff in here that he did.
Oh my God, I know. It's so good. It's just so good.
I've never seen that one. I've seen like the art of He-Man, but
yeah, I got that one too. That little chunky book though, I had to get it because it was just low. Like it's got all the mini comics, and they're most of them are just dreadful. But some of them, like the artwork, will just knock you out. Like unbelievable. It's like some of Bruce Timm's earliest stuff, and it's definitely marked. It's definitely Tex's earliest stuff, and it's so good.
It's got the old book and record stuff too that I used to listen to.
Oh yeah, sweet.
Which is just it's so incredible. Some of the Tex I think Tex drew Triclops like really early on, or his Trapjaw is the one where he was yellow.
Yep. And his Triclops was red, I think, too. He had red armor instead of green. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got it right here. I don't know if you can see it. It's
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah, so good. Yeah, I love that book, man. Love that book.
With He-Man, I always had to buy my friend He-Man toys for like birthday and Christmas, and I wanted to collect them, but I couldn't. You know, I was already getting so much Hulk stuff, so wasn't quite allowed to get another collection. But I had He-Man and Skeletor, and that was it. And I watched the
Nice.
Michael wants to know if you're excited for the Kevin Smith Motu.
The Kevin Smith thing is interesting because I think somebody said years ago in an interview, he said he didn't like Motu, but I mean, the stuff I've seen of it looks insane. And for me personally, the 2000X Motu cartoon was I actually like it more than the old Filmation one. So I'm hoping it kind of I know it's a continuation of the Filmation one, but I'm hoping it goes along the lines of a little more of an adult approach and like the 2000X did. I'm excited because it's Motu.
I think I missed out on the 2000X thing, man. What was that?
Oh, dude, it's insane. It's a Mike Young Productions cartoon. I think it was around for 2-3 years, and it's sort of a little bit of a reimagine, like a couple of redesigns here and there. And you got to look it up because for me, it kind of delves into some of the origins more. Like you find out about King Grayskull and where the sword of He actually came from. Like for He-Man nerds,
wow, crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So short answer is yeah, I'm excited about it because it's Motu stuff, and I think Kevin Smith's good at what he does. So I'm optimistic.
Oh, wicked, man! No, I got to check that out then. Yeah, I didn't know there was like I remember there was like another. What, like the He-Man toy line that ended, the original one ended, and then they kind of came back. He was almost like they were a different scale figure, but they were like
that was New Adventure,
almost like a spaceman or something. Like he was kind of a different kind of. I don't know. I don't remember. I didn't get it. I remember thinking it was so weirdly different than what I was expecting. But that
was New Adventures. That was like I guess late '88, '89 or something like that after the movie bombed.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And they took him like he had like a ponytail and Skeletor looked all different.
Yeah.
heroes were there. I never really watched that, so I can't really speak to it too much. But I know the figures were smaller; they weren't as popular. I think they were kind of chasing the GI Joe figure thing, like we're going smaller in scale and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
By the way, this is the Bruce Timm He-Man. This is some Bruce Timm He-Man right here.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Look how good that is.
So clean and so rendered. Like the painting on it is just unbelievable.
How good is that?
I know. Look at how clean.
That's insane.
There's like hardly any lines there. It's just it's just like there it is. Perfect.
He's got awesome hair.
So good.
Michael Jason Waters says the Skeletor origin was really killer.
Oh yeah, with Keldor, where like the acid gets thrown on his face, like the whole thing is it's they just really go into it.
Oh, I'd love to see it. Oh, okay, I gotta look at Skeletor origin. Okay, I gotta look this up. This is crazy.
Yeah, it might be on YouTube.
Oh, all right, I can get that. I can do some YouTube. That sounds good.
Yeah, it's the 2000X He-Man Mike Young Productions cartoon, and for me, because I thought Filmation kind of made Man-at-Arms kind of like this feeble old guy. So, like, he just kind of, like this, he just shot like a laser out of his forearm and then got caught in a trap every time. So, in the 2000X one, he was badass.
All right, so time check. It's 9:30, guys.
All right.
All right, so I'll scan this and post it. I'll send it to you, and we'll be good to go.
Yeah, let's just do a last little spotlight on each one. So I'll start with yours, Chris. Just give me a sec. Very cool, man. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
And for those that are watching, so again, we'll do I'll do a separate post for the rest of the auction. I'll go back on here to see what the last bid was, and we'll start at that bid for those folks. And yeah, and once you, if you're the highest bid by Thursday at noon, you're taking this home. Awesome. All right, so I'm gonna move over to Mike's here.
It's getting too much reflection, but
all right, slide it over to the right, I guess.
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah.
Awesome. Wow. Oh, I love the webbing.
So cool. Such motion in it.
Oh, thank you. The pen, unfortunately, I'm using one of those Pentel brush pens, and on this kind of paper, all the metallic of the ink kind of rises to the top. So yeah, actually, it's really tricky to get a good scan. I forgot about that. I've been using black gouache lately because it's more matte. But yeah, you can't really see it on this, but it's black. It just doesn't look black on camera.
Yeah,
awesome.
They always look actually a lot better than they do generally on camera. So the colors pop, the lines are much cleaner. So
yeah, you'll see that in the scan. Like,
yeah,
mine actually looks worse.
We'll let them bid on it first, and then and then we'll put paint pot Pete in the corner. All right, Casey, coming over to yours, buddy.
All right, it's yeah, same. The colors are so nuts on the computer, but
that's awesome, man.
Like I'm in the dark here to try and get the colors to show up. I still gotta, put the lines and a bit of shading on and stuff, but
that's beautiful, man.
I wish I could color like you guys.
Getting there.
I have color envy.
Oh, I can't color for crap, man. I'm terrible. Casey's a painter, though, man. Casey's the real deal with the paints.
Wow.
And that's what makes me do stuff.
I like the right hand, the finger placement and everything. That's so cool. Very neat.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, folks. So I'm going to wrap it up here. Thanks a lot for joining us. Again, great Kids Helpphone. Donate, please. And thanks again, Mike, Casey, Chris, our newcomer, Chris, our international man of mystery, for showing up and dropping down some He-Man knowledge.
Yeah, big time. I gotta look up. I gotta look up the show.
I learned a lot.
Yeah, it was fun.
Huge Spidey fan, so I was a little out of my element, but.
And thanks for everybody watching. We'll be back for Sketchlemania 4 at some point, so look out for that, and look out for the post that's going to show these three pieces in all their glory. All right. Cheers, guys. Thanks,
Take
everyone.
care, everybody. See you later. Cheers.
But
Right.